Chapter 395. Hearing Ji Yu's voice, Yang Ming hurriedly turned around to look at Ji Yu. He saw the scarlet treasured saber in Ji Yu's hand. Yang Ming immediately frowned. This scarlet treasured saber didn't seem to be of a lower grade than the one in his hand. He originally thought that this kid was a sword cultivator and didn't expect him to know how to use a saber. At the same time, the crowd below the arena only reacted now. What happened just now? Why isn't Hall Master Ji injured at all? I don't know. I completely didn't see the movements of the Hall Master and Vice Hall Master clearly. It seems that Hall Master Ji dodged all of Vice Hall Master Yang Ming's 5 slashes of the wolf blade. Even his clothes are completely undamaged. Almost everyone was extremely confused. Most of them didn't see clearly what happened just now. Only Yang Ming, who was at the peak of the 9th level of the Tongxian stage, saw everything clearly. He was extremely surprised by Ji Yu's strange speed. It was impossible for an ordinary Tongxian stage martial cultivator to have such a fast speed. Even he felt that he was far inferior to Ji Yu's speed just now. Yang Ming guessed that it was very likely that Ji Yu had executed an earth rank movement technique. Moreover, it wasn't an ordinary earth rank movement technique. Apart from this, there was no other reasonable explanation. On the other side, Xiao Ji Yu sat there obediently eating sweets and practically didn't pay attention to the situation on the arena. Actually, this was only because she knew that Ji Yu wouldn't lose. "Come, I'll play with you next," Ji Yu said with a relaxed expression. Looking at Ji Yu's expression, Yang Ming felt that the saber Dao he was most proud of was insulted. He instantly flew into a rage and executed the wolf blade's 5 slashes again to attack Ji Yu. He didn't believe that this kid could dodge it every time. However, this time, it was still easily dodged by Ji Yu. Ding! Host has executed the Earth Rank Intermediate Level Movement Technique, Lightning Flash. Lightning Flash has obtained 999 times of proficiency experience. Ding! Congratulations host, the Earth Rank Intermediate Level Movement Technique, Lightning Flash has successfully broken through to the perfection state. Not only did he casually dodge his opponent's attack, but he also dodged the attack. Ji Yu also took the opportunity to stab Yang Ming. Ding! The host has performed the Star-Splitting Saber Technique. The Star-Splitting Saber Technique has been increased by 999 times. Ding! Host has activated 50% of half-step blade intent. Experience gained, 50*999x. Ding! Congratulations, host. The superior yellow-ranked star-splitting saber technique has successfully broken through to the crest of perfection stage. Ding! It has been detected that the star-splitting saber technique has reached the perfection realm and has been automatically upgraded to the inferior profound rank saber technique, blazing saber technique. At this moment, Yang Ming had no time to dodge at all. He could only forcefully use the treasured saber in his hand to block and use a defensive mystic skill to protect his body. After blocking Ji Yu's attack, Yang Ming only retreated half a step. Yang Ming was immediately overjoyed. This was because he realized that although this kid's speed was shockingly fast, his saber technique was very ordinary. As long as he could use a defensive profound skill to protect himself in time, this brat would not be able to hurt him. "Mph, I was wondering how capable you were. So this is all you've got?" Yang Ming sneered. Suddenly, he exclaimed softly, "Oh? I didn't expect you to have comprehended half-step blade intent. But you're still too inexperienced." Only now did he realize that Ji Yu's attack had been mixed with half-step blade intent. With his saber experience, he could feel that this brat had grasped about 50% to 60% of half-step blade intent. However, half-step blade intent. Ji Yu knew it, so did Yang Ming. In the next moment, a domineering half-step blade intent burst out from Yang Ming's body. This powerful aura caused almost everyone below the stage to tremble. This is the Deputy Palace Master's 90% half-step blade intent. It's really powerful. Damn, the Deputy Palace Master's half-step blade intent is much stronger than Palace Master Ji's, that's for sure. The Deputy Palace Master is now not far from comprehending the true blade intent. Among all the saber cultivators in the Kanglan Empire, if Deputy Palace Master Yang Ming claimed to be second, no one would dare to claim to be first. In the eyes of the crowd, as soon as Deputy Palace Master Yang Ming's 90% half-step blade intent appeared, the situation was immediately one-sided. However, Ji Yu only smiled and did not say anything. Chapter 396. Although Yang Ming had unleashed 90% of his half-step saber intent, he did not immediately attack again. This was because Ji Yu was very cunning. If he took the initiative to attack, it was very likely that he would be dodged again. That would be a waste of his stamina and celestial chi, and he would lose sooner or later. Therefore, he planned to wait for the boy to attack so that he could find a chance to deal a fatal blow. Just as Yang Ming thought of this, he saw Ji Yu take the initiative to attack. He smiled coldly and raised his saber to block, ready to counterattack at any time. However, the reality was different from what he had expected. Ding! The host has used the blazing saber technique. The blazing saber technique has gained 999 times the experience. Ding! Host has activated 50% half-step saber intent. 50% half-step saber intent has gained 999 times the experience. Ding! Congratulations to the host. The inferior profound rank saber technique, blazing saber technique, has successfully broken through to the initial stage. Ding! Congratulations to the host. The half-step saber intent has broken through to the half-step saber intent of 60%. The scarlet saber in Ji Yu's hand was burning with an invisible flame, and the surrounding temperature rose abruptly. He swung his saber at Yang Ming, and after Yang Ming blocked it, he immediately used the superior profound rank saber technique, Thousand Illusions Flash, to dodge. He saw through Yang Ming's intention, so he did not give Yang Ming a chance to counterattack. As for the movement technique, Ji Yu felt that there was no need for the high-level lightning flash to deal with this guy. The superior profound rank saber technique, Thousand Illusions Flash, was enough, and the celestial chi consumption was much lower than the lightning flash. Although Yang Ming's cultivation was higher than his, Yang Ming was at the peak of LV9 Tongxian stage, while he was at the early stage of LV9 Tongxian stage. However, he had cultivated the king rank technique, Sky Splitter, to the second level and to perfection. The quality of the celestial chi in his body was higher than most LV9 Tongxian stage martial cultivators. Therefore, Ji Yu's cultivation was higher than Yang Ming's. Yang Ming could not do anything to him with a superior profound rank saber technique. On the other hand, because Yang Ming underestimated the power of Ji Yu's blade technique, he only casually used his blade to block and didn't even use a defensive profound skill. As a result, Ji Yu's slash forced him to take a few steps back, and he almost fell to the ground. The web between his thumb and index finger on the hand that was holding the sword was also split open, and blood dripped onto the ground. However, the shock in his heart overshadowed the pain coming from the web between his thumb and forefinger. How did this brat's saber technique suddenly become so powerful? Furthermore, his moves had changed as well. Continue. Ji Yu looked at Yang Ming with contempt and laughed. Yang Ming was pulled out of his inner world by Ji Yu's voice. Continue. He clenched his treasured saber with both hands and gloomily stared at Ji Yu. This time, he would not underestimate his opponent. He didn't believe that this brat could dodge his counterattack every single time. All right. Before his voice fell, Ji Yu had already flashed to Yang Ming's side. Ding. Host has performed the incinerating flame saber technique. Incinerating flame saber technique has gained 999 times the experience. Ding. Host has activated the 60% half-step saber intent. 60% half-step saber intent has gained 999 times the experience. Ji Yu held the scarlet saber in one hand and slashed at Yang Ming's abdomen from the side. Yang Ming reacted in time, holding the azure treasured saber with both hands and blocking the side of his abdomen. Not only that, but he also performed a mystic high-grade defensive mystic skill at the same time to protect his body. This was his strongest defensive mystic skill, and he no longer dared to underestimate Ji Yu. The moment he blocked Ji Yu's saber, Yang Ming's gaze hardened. He held the treasured saber in his hand and performed the wolf blade's 5 slashes at Ji Yu with all his might. The wolf blade's 5 slashes without holding back in the slightest, coupled with the 90% half-step saber intent that was infinitely close to saber truth. These 5 slashes almost tore the space apart. Yang Ming firmly believed that if these 5 slashes landed on Jiyu's body, Jiyu would definitely die. However, the voice that followed caused him to break down. Wow, that was close, that was close. I was almost cut by you. This relaxed and cheerful voice sounded, and Yang Ming's expression immediately stiffened. He slowly raised his head like a machine and found that Jiyu was already 3 to 5 meters away from him. This also meant that his full strength attack just now had missed again. Chapter 397. Especially when he saw Jiyu's relaxed and playful smile, Yang Ming was on the verge of collapse. He had bet everything on that move just now. Even the mystical qi in his body had been squandered away by him. But it was still easily dodged by the opponent. Throughout the entire battle, he hadn't even touched his opponent once, and he was already exhausted. What was there to compete? Jiyu did not care what this guy was thinking and continued to torture him over and over again. At this time, Yang Ming had lost his will to fight. He did not fight back. He just kept on blocking. Ding. Host has used Burning Flame Saber Technique. Burning Flame Saber Technique gained 999 times the experience. Ding. Host has activated Half-Step Saber Intent. Half-Step Saber Intent gained 999 times the experience. Jiyu gave Yang Ming scraping after scraping. But in fact, Yang Ming had to use all his strength to block. And using all his strength to block consumed a lot of mystical qi. Originally, Yang Ming did not have much mystical qi left in his body, and this one strike after another completely consumed all the mystical qi in his body. Seeing this scene on the stage, everyone was puzzled. What's wrong with Vice Palace Master Yang Ming? Why is he not moving and letting Palace Master Ji attack? I don't know. Isn't Vice Palace Master Yang Ming in an advantageous position? Why didn't he attack Palace Master Ji? At this time, a protector said to these ordinary disciples, "You guys are really stupid. No matter how powerful Vice Palace Master Yang Ming is, he should be able to beat Palace Master Ji." Hearing this, many people came to a sudden realization. They thought back, it was really like this. From beginning to end, Vice Palace Master Yang Ming did not even touch Palace Master Ji. Only the stronger elders and Yang Jie could see that the real situation was that Yang Ming had lost his will to fight. Especially Yang Jie. He stood under the stage anxiously, not knowing what to do. He could see that his big brother was exhausted and did not even have the strength to resist. No matter what he did, there was no turning back. His elder brother would definitely lose this challenge. At this moment, Yang Ming really couldn't even use a defensive profound skill, and he couldn't even hold the treasured saber firmly. At the same time, Jiyu's saber technique and saber intent had made significant breakthroughs. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the peak of perfection stage of the mystic rank inferior saber technique. Ding! Detected that blazing flame saber technique has reached the perfection realm, automatically upgraded to the medium profound rank saber technique blazing wave saber technique. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through from 60% half-step saber intent to 70% half-step saber intent. Jiyu immediately used the burning wave saber technique. The scarlet broadsword that was burning with invisible flames slashed out layers of raging flames, pushing towards Yang Ming like stormy waves. At this time, Yang Ming had no strength to resist, and was pushed out of the ring. His body was still burned by the flames. Seeing this, Yang Jie immediately rushed forward to catch Yang Ming. After dispersing the raging flames on Yang Ming's body, he took out a high-grade healing pill and stuffed it into Yang Ming's mouth. His defeated, "Now it's your turn." Jiyu stabbed the scarlet broadsword into the ground and looked at Yang Jie expressionlessly. What? Hall Master Ji wants to take turns to fight. That's not good. Hall Master Ji has just defeated Vice Hall Master Yang Ming, and he hasn't recovered his strength yet, and now he wants to challenge Vice Hall Master Yang Jie. Hall Master Ji can definitely fight another day. Why is he in such a hurry? The people below the ring started to discuss. In fact, they felt that Hall Master Ji had only defeated Vice Hall Master Yang Ming with his speed. To put it bluntly, it was not a beautiful victory. However, They did not dare to say it out loud. Moreover, they remembered that Vice Hall Master Yang Ming was famous for his saber Dao, while Vice Hall Master Yang Jie was famous for his speed. When he faced Vice Hall Master Yang Jie later, Hall Master Ji's speed advantage would be gone. Besides, Hall Master Ji was not in his peak condition yet. Therefore, most people felt that Hall Master Ji did not have a high chance of winning against Vice Hall Master Yang Jie. Even the Challenge Arena elder had the same thought. He then whispered to Xiao Jiyu, who was sitting beside him, "You better persuade Hall Master Ji, it's not good for him to take turns to fight." "There's no need." Xiao Jiyu replied indifferently. She had candy in her mouth and looked at Jiyu on the ring. "He has no chance of losing." "All right." The Challenge Arena elder could not say anything. He was not on Yang Ming and Yang Jie's side, nor was he on Jiyu's side. He only felt that taking turns to fight was unfair to Hall Master Ji, so he wanted to remind this little girl. As for whether she was willing to listen, it was not his business. Chapter 398. Yang Jie didn't say anything else. He stepped onto the stage with a gloomy expression. His opponent had initiated a tag team battle. It could be interpreted as him being too conceited, but it could also be interpreted as him looking down on them. How could he tolerate being looked down on? "I'd like to see if your saber or my sword is more powerful." As he spoke, Yang Jie pulled out a sharp sword from his waist. Jiyu threw the crimson saber aside and took out the cold edge from her storage ring. "A sword? Then I'll play with you." Seeing this, Yang Jie could not help but be stunned. This kid not only knew the saber Dao, but also the sword Dao? "However, if we're playing with swords, I won't play with you as long as I did with Yang Ming." The cold edge in Jiyu's hand flashed with a golden light. An extremely terrifying sword Dao true intent emanated from the blade. Ding. Host has used Dazzling Sun in the Sky. Dazzling Sun in the Sky has gained 999 times proficiency experience point. Ding. Host has activated 70% Sword Dao True Intent. 70% Sword Dao True Intent has gained 999 times proficiency experience point. Ding. Congratulations host, Dazzling Sun in the Sky has successfully broken through to the Greater Heights stage. Ding. Dazzling Sun in the Sky has reached the Greater Perfection stage. It has automatically been upgraded to the Earth Rank Intermediate Level Sword Technique, Dazzling Sun in the Sky. The Earth Rank Sword Technique, Dazzling Sun in the Sky, and the 70% Sword Dao True Intent were unleashed at the same time. A beam of golden light illuminated heaven and earth. Even the dark clouds in the sky seemed to be affected and slowly faded away. As the sword slashed out, there seemed to be an illusion of a sun in the sky that disappeared in an instant. A beam of golden light shot out from the cold edge. The entire arena suddenly became extremely hot. This beam of golden light expanded rapidly and finally formed a huge sword wave. Yang Jie stared at the terrifying sword wave in front of him with his mouth agape. In that instant, he felt a suffocating pressure and the threat of death. "Block, I have to block," Yang Jie kept repeating in his mind. However, in the next instant, he couldn't take it anymore. "Block my King head." In order to save his life, Yang Jie couldn't care less. He didn't hold back at all as he used his movement technique and desperately escaped from the ring. If he still didn't flee, he would have to die in the arena. After being hit by that terrifying sword wave, even if he didn't die, he would be severely injured. Since he was going to lose anyway, he might as well just admit defeat. Seeing that Yang Jie had taken the initiative to admit defeat, Jiyu also moved her mind. That enormous golden sword wave began to slowly dissipate. Only when it was about to approach the tip of Yang Jie's nose did the sword wave completely disperse. Seeing the sword wave disappear in front of his eyes, Yang Jie was so frightened that his heart was about to jump out of his chest. After a while, when he realized that he was fine, he gradually calmed down. Vice Palace Master Yang Jie's wretched appearance shocked everyone present. In particular, the golden sword wave just now had greatly shocked their eyes. Before this, they had never seen such a terrifying move. This is the true strength of the Palace Master. We have underestimated the Palace Master's strength. If that's the case. Earlier, Lord Palace Master was just playing around with Vice Palace Master Yang Ming. Fortunately, Lord Palace Master stopped in time. Otherwise, we might have all died here. Everyone was extremely shocked. Today, they had witnessed Palace Master Ji's true strength for the first time. Furthermore, they were not sure if he had used his full strength. Because Palace Master Ji's expression was extremely relaxed from beginning to end, as if he did not feel any pressure at all. It was simply to the extent that the two Vice Palace Masters did not have any room to retaliate. Everyone guessed that perhaps only the appearance of a spirit profound realm almighty could make Palace Master Ji take it seriously. However, in the entire Kanglan Empire, whether there were any spirit profound realm almighty existences was still a question. Even if there were, it was very likely that they had already left the Kanglan Empire. Boring. Ji Yu shook her head in boredom and disappeared from the stage. Ding. Host has used Earth rank middle level movement technique Flash of Thunder. Flash of Thunder has obtained 999 times the experience. In the next moment, Ji Yu's figure appeared beside Xiao Ji Yu. Alright, we can go now. So slow, I have already finished my candy for a long time. Xiao Gu's tone carried a trace of complaint. I just accidentally played with them for a while. It's not a big problem, Ji Yu said casually. When she said that, the surrounding people could not help but sigh. In the eyes of the Palace Master, the earlier battle of attrition was completely a game. From today onwards, in the hearts of everyone in the Azure Water Palace Hall, Palace Master Ji had become the undisputed #1 expert of the Azure Water Palace Hall. As for that little girl, strictly speaking, she was not a part of the Azure Water Palace Hall. After all, her original form was a demonic beast, although they did not know what kind of demonic beast she was. Furthermore, that girl was originally Palace Master Ji's demonic pet, so she could be considered one of Palace Master Ji's strengths. Chapter 399. After that, no one in the Navy Tide Branch Hall dared to question Ji Yu's strength anymore. Even the two Deputy Hall Masters, Yang Ming and Yang Jie, were defeated without any dignity. Who would dare to question him? As for the other Deputy Hall Master, it was Wen Yunyang. He had never doubted Ji Yu from the very beginning. From the moment Ji Yu subdued the Calamity Skeletal Dragon, he had been full of respect for this young man. Especially when the Calamity Skeletal Dragon had stayed in the Navy Tide Branch Hall for so many days without causing any trouble. How could he doubt a young man who could make a rank 5 demonic beast listen to him? At this moment, Ji Yu was cultivating his celestial Kai in his room. He planned to break through to mid-stage level 9 Tongxian realm in one go. Ding. Host has cultivated celestial Kai for 1 minute. Martial cultivation gained experience, 100 by 999 times. Ding. Host has cultivated celestial Kai for 1 minute. Martial cultivation gained experience, 100 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations, Host. Martial cultivation has successfully broken through to mid-stage level 9 Tongxian realm. Not long after, he naturally made a breakthrough in his cultivation. At the same time, he circulated the sky-splitting technique to suppress the commotion caused by the breakthrough so as to not wake up Xiao Ji Yu, who was sleeping. Actually, it was not yet night time. Xiao Ji Yu was still a young dragon, so its sleep time was longer than usual. For the time being, Ji Yu could only stay here. This was to prevent Xiao Ji Yu from running around and causing trouble when it woke up and realized that he was not in the room. Since he was bored, Ji Yu carefully looked at the things in his storage ring. There were countless gold coins, all kinds of materials, elixirs, artifacts. There was a dazzling pile of items. Ji Yu had not organized his storage ring for a long time, so it was a bit messy. At this moment, he suddenly saw 3 sets of elixir recipes. Seeing these 3 sets of elixir recipes, he remembered that he had not looked at the elixir recipes that the Nangong clan had given him. He immediately took out the 3 sets of elixir recipes and looked at them one by one. Ding. Host has taken a look at the incomplete elixir recipe and triggered 999 times comprehension ability. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully comprehending the first portion of the 6th grade medicinal pill, Great Heaven Profound Yang Pill. In that instant, Ji Yu completely grasped the pill formula. However, this was only the first part. according to the knowledge given by the system, this pill formula had a total of 5 parts. Therefore, it was useless to completely master the first part. Only by mastering all 5 parts would one be able to succeed. As for this 6th grade pill, the Great Heaven Profound Yang pill, it seemed to be a type of extreme yang item, but he wasn't sure what use it had. Then, Ji-yu looked at the 2nd pill formula. Ding. Host glanced at the incomplete pill formula, triggering 999 times comprehension ability. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully comprehending the 2nd portion of the 6th grade medicinal pill, Great Heaven Profound Yang pill. Ji-yu stared blankly for a moment before realizing that this was the 2nd part of the Great Heaven Profound Yang pill recipe. Then wouldn't the 3rd pill formula be the same? With that thought in mind, Ji-yu immediately looked at the 3rd pill formula. Ding. Host glanced at the incomplete pill formula, triggering 999 times comprehension ability. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully comprehending the 3rd portion of the 6th grade medicinal pill, Great Heaven Profound Yang pill. As expected, this 3rd pill formula was also the incomplete pill formula of the Great Heaven Profound Yang pill. Ji-yu was very concerned about this. The Nangong family gave him 3 incomplete pill formulas of the Great Heaven Profound Yang pill. Was it just a gift? Or did they have other intentions? Ji-yu couldn't figure it out, so he could only keep it for now and ask the Nangong family head later. Thinking of this, he suddenly felt that it was time for him to return to the Chenyuan martial mansion. After leaving for so long, he didn't know how Jiang Yuchu, Jiang Yushin, and Qi-ling were doing. Although Ji-yu was the palace master now, it wasn't impossible for him to leave the Kanglan branch palace. If he finished dealing with the day's affairs in the morning, he could find time to leave the Kanglan branch palace. Moreover, this time, he only needed to take a look at the Chenyuan martial mansion. It wouldn't take much time. Chapter 400. At night. Ji-yu took out the pills that she had not used in her storage ring. There were quite a lot of pills. If she consumed all of them, her cultivation should be able to break through again. Ding. Host has consumed a grade 4 intermediate pill. Host's cultivation has increased by 999 times. Ding. Host has consumed a grade 4 superior pill. Host's cultivation has increased by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations host, martial cultivation has successfully broken through to late-stage LV9 Tongxian realm. The effects of the pills did not stop even after reaching late-stage LV9 Tongxian realm. The effects only gradually disappeared when her cultivation was about to break through to the peak of LV9 Tongxian realm. However, Ji-yu did not have any more pills on her. If she wanted to break through to the peak of LV9 Tongxian realm, she had to cultivate mystic energy. Ding. Host has cultivated mystic energy for 1 minute. Martial cultivation gained experience, 100 by 999 times. Ding. Host has cultivated mystic energy for 1 minute. Martial cultivation gained experience, 100 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations host, martial cultivation has successfully broken through to the peak of LV9 Tongxian realm. In the middle of the night, Ji-yu's cultivation broke through again and reached the peak of LV9 Tongxian realm. You're still cultivating? At this moment, Xiao Ji-yu woke up. No, I'm going to sleep. With that, Ji-yu got off the bed. Where are you going? Xiao Ji-yu asked. To take a bath. Ji-yu replied. Oh, although Xiao Ji-yu did not know what a bath was, it was fine as long as Ji-yu did not go too far away from her. After a quick bath, Ji-yu went to bed. The next day, after quickly settling all the affairs in the morning, she left the Kanglan branch hall with Xiao Ji-yu in the afternoon. As the hall master, Ji-yu did not need to explain anything to anyone. As long as she did not leave for a few days, it was fine. Ji-yu put on her black clothes and left the Kanglan branch hall with Xiao Ji-yu. Xiao Ji-yu did not need to change back to her original form. The wings on her back grew again. After a while, Xiao Ji-yu flew to the royal city with Ji-yu. Because Xiao Gu's speed was extremely fast, and it wasn't as big as its original body, no one on the ground noticed that someone was flying over from the sky. We're here. Looking at the familiar royal city below, Ji-yu immediately said to Xiao Ji-yu. Hearing this, Xiao Ji-yu immediately descended to the ground. There just happened to be no one nearby, so practically no one had seen Ji-yu and Xiao Ji-yu descend from the sky. Ji-yu looked around and realized that they were in a rather remote place. In other words, they were still very far away from the Chenyuan martial house. Without hesitation, Ji-yu held Xiaogu's hand and headed to the Chenyuan martial mansion. He was too lazy to walk slowly on such a long journey. Ding! Host has performed the Earth-ranked mid-level movement skill Flash of Thunder. Flash of Thunder has gained 999 times the experience. Ding! Host has performed the Earth-ranked mid-level movement skill Flash of Thunder. Flash of Thunder has gained 999 times the experience. Soon, Ji-yu arrived at the Chenyuan martial mansion. The current Chenyuan martial mansion did not change much compared to before. In fact, he was stopped by the guards again as usual. After all, he was dressed in black, which did not fit in with the normal attire of the Chenyuan martial mansion. He would definitely be suspected by the guards. Ji-yu took out his identity token from his storage ring and showed it to the guards. This was his identity token in the Chenyuan martial mansion. He had kept it in his storage ring for a long time. Chief Ji. The guard was shocked when he saw the identity token. At this moment, he suddenly realized that this person in front of him looked very familiar. It was Chief Ji. The guard apologized profusely, afraid that he would anger Ji-yu. It's fine, Ji-yu said indifferently. Then, he pulled Xiao Ji-yu into the Chenyuan martial mansion. Not long after they entered the Chenyuan martial mansion, a young man walked towards them. Hey! This little girl's looks are really not bad. The young man stared at Xiao Ji-yu, who was beside Ji-yu. His eyes gradually became lewd. At this moment, Xiao Ji-yu pulled Ji-yu's hand. I don't like this guy. Can I hit him? Chapter 401. Brat, is this your sister? Let her play with me. The young man said to Ji-yu in an arrogant and overbearing manner. There were quite a few people passing by. When they saw what was happening, they all gathered around. This guy is bullying the new students again. I've been seeing him bully the new students for the past few days. This guy's name is Ju Jiwen. Do you know Ju Jiwoo? He's this guy's brother. What? You're talking about Ju Jiwoo, who's ranked 4th in the inner palace? No wonder this guy is so brazen. He has such a powerful backer. The surrounding students seemed to be new students as well. Although they had heard of Ji-yu's reputation, they had never seen what Ji-yu looked like. Even if they had seen a portrait, they wouldn't be able to recognize him immediately. Furthermore, Ji-yu was still young. His appearance would change very quickly. Compared to the portraits that were wildly circulated by the families, his appearance had already changed a little. Compared to before, his appearance had become more mature. There was also a hint of sharpness in that maturity. Don't be anxious. Ji-yu lightly touched Xiaogu's hair. Brat, didn't you hear what I said? Feeling that he was being ignored, Ju Jiwen's expression turned ugly. You better get lost before I change my mind. Ji-yu looked at the young man coldly. He had only temporarily stopped Xiao Ji-yu because he was giving face to Murong clan master. Otherwise, if Xiao Ji-yu acted up, this entire area would probably be destroyed. As for this reckless guy in front of him, he had already given this guy a chance. He wouldn't give him a second chance. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect that there would be someone more arrogant than me in the outer palace. Ju Jiwen didn't take Ji-yu's words seriously at all. He even treated it as a joke. Ji-yu couldn't be bothered to continue talking nonsense. His gaze turned cold. He instantly appeared in front of the other party. He placed his palm on the other party's face and pressed it to the ground. Ju Jiwen couldn't react at all. He only felt his body uncontrollably fall backward. In the next moment, he lost consciousness. Ji-yu's speed was too fast. By the time the surrounding people came back to their senses, Ju Jiwen had already fallen to the ground unconscious. Especially when they saw Ju Jiwen bleeding profusely from the back of his head, everyone was scared silly. Looking at the unconscious Ju Jiwen on the ground, Ji-yu shook her head helplessly. He didn't want to hurt someone as soon as he returned, But this guy just had to court death. This wasn't just a normal death, actually daring to harbor evil intentions towards Xiao Jiyu. Murder. Murder. Hurry and inform the elders. Sure. Lower your voice. Do you want to die? It seems that someone has already gone to look for Senior Zhu Jiwu. Moreover, Senior Zhu Jiwu should be nearby. I even bumped into him on my way here. Some people said cautiously in private. That eyesore is finally gone. It's a pity that I couldn't punch that guy. At that moment, Xiao Jiyu said regretfully. Let's continue. Jiyu held Xiao Gu's hand and continued to walk inside. However, at this moment, a young man rushed over with a movement technique. Senior Zhu is here. It was unknown who shouted this out. Immediately, everyone knew that Zhu Jiwu was here. How dare you? Zhu Jiwu was about to say something fierce when he saw the other party's face clearly. His voice stopped abruptly. See Chief Ji? Zhu Jiwu said in shock. The new outer sect disciples couldn't recognize him, but as an inner sect disciple, he could recognize that this young man in black was Chief Jiyu. Especially since he had always used Chief Jiyu as his motivation to cultivate. As soon as he said that, the others were also shocked. Chief Ji. There was only one chief disciple in the entire Chenyuan martial house. Didn't that mean that this person was the legendary prodigy, Jiyu? Currently, Jiyu's reputation was like thunder in the entire Kanglan Empire. Almost everyone had heard of Jiyu's achievements. This legendary figure was actually standing in front of them right now. How dare I what? At this moment, Jiyu asked with a smile. No. Nothing at all. Zhu Jiwu shook his head repeatedly. He didn't dare to say anything in front of Jiyu. He didn't need to ask to know that this time, it was definitely his idiotic younger brother who took the initiative to do something. He could only let this idiot bear the consequences of his own actions. Moreover, it seemed that Chief Ji had held back. His younger brother was only seriously injured and unconscious. He didn't die completely. Thank you for your mercy, Chief Ji. At that thought, Zhu Jiwu hurriedly expressed his gratitude. Jiyu, on the other hand, did not pay any more attention to him. She continued to lead little Jiyu inside. Seeing that Jiyu didn't say anything else, Zhu Jiwu couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. He was afraid that Chief Ji would take care of him and his younger brother in a fit of anger. Chapter 402. The news of Jiyu's return quickly spread throughout the Chenyuan martial house. Jiang Yuchu and Jiang Yushin, who were cultivating with Murongzili in the Violet Gold Palace, also heard the news of Jiyu's return. With Murongzili's permission, they couldn't wait to leave the Violet Gold Palace to see Jiyu. However, as soon as they walked out of the Violet Gold Palace, they saw Jiyu walking towards them from not far away. Jiang Yushin was overjoyed, but her expression soon changed to one of confusion. Because she saw that there seemed to be a very young girl beside Jiyu. Jiang Yuchu was also very curious about that little girl. Are you slacking off again? At this time, Jiyu's voice sounded. Who's slacking off? Didn't we come out to see you? The more she spoke, the softer Jiang Yueshin's voice became. That shy appearance of hers still didn't change. Jiyu, you're back. Jiang Yuchu said with a faint smile. Ian, I'm back. Jiyu nodded. The atmosphere gradually became warm. However, at this time, a voice broke this warmth. Jiyu, who are these two human women to you? It was Xiao Gu's voice. This is Jiang Yuchu, and this is Jiang Yushin. Jiyu introduced them to Xiao Jiyu one by one. They're both my fiancés. Fiancés? Xiao Jiyu asked with a puzzled expression. I don't understand what this means. For the time being, they're considered your family, right? You can say that. Jiyu replied. There was nothing wrong with calling fiancés family. Then I want to be your fiancé too. Is that okay? Xiao Jiyu looked up at Jiyu with an innocent expression. Jiyu didn't know what to say for a moment. It was obvious that this fellow didn't understand what fiancés meant. No. At this moment, Jiang Yushin objected loudly. Then, she pointed at Xiao Jiyu and asked Jiyu angrily, I wanted to ask just now. Who is she? Her name is Xiao Jiyu. It's a little troublesome to explain, so just treat her as my little sister. Ji said. If he wanted to explain the ins and outs of the matter, the Calamity Bone Dragon and the soul contract would be too troublesome. Now, with his relationship with Xiao Ji, it would be most appropriate to describe them as siblings. Younger sister? Jiang Yushin looked at the girl and then at Ji. He discovered that he didn't look like one at all. Furthermore, this little girl had strange things growing on her head and back. I want to be Ji's fiancé. What right do you have to stop me? At that moment, Xiao Ji said to Jiang Yushin unhappily. No means no. Jiang Yushin did not back down. Yushin, wait a moment. Jiang Yuchu suddenly said. She asked Xiao Ji gently, Xiao Ji, you probably don't know the true meaning of fiancés, right? Oh, I really don't know. Xiao Ji thought for a moment and shook her head. Then, you actually just want to be Ji's family? Jiang Yuchu continued asking. That's right. What else could it be? Xiao Ji said matter-of-factly. Yes, elder sister, I understand. After saying that, Jiang Yuchu smiled at Xiao Ji again. Then, she turned to Jiang Yushin and said, Yushin, do you understand now? Yuan. I understand. Jiang Yushin said proudly. This fellow is old enough to be your ancestor. Ji couldn't help but ridicule in her heart when she heard Jiang Yuchu call her elder sister. Speaking of which, why does she keep saying something about me? At this moment, Jiang Yushin leaned over to Ji's ear and asked. That's her habit. There's no need to pay attention to so many details. Ji casually explained. So, can I become Ji's fiancés or not? Xiao Ji asked again. Jiang Yushin was just about to say something when Jiang Yuchu stopped her again. Fiancés are a little different from what you think. Jiang Yuchu said amiably, fiancés. Ah, they're going to be married in the future. Married? What does that mean? Xiao Ji continued asking. Married. It means officially getting married. It can also be understood as becoming a family. Jiang Yuchu didn't know how to explain. Family? Isn't that the same as being a family member? Xiao Ji asked. Because Xiao Ji was too naive, the entire topic was circled around again. Chapter 403. Why are you so silly? At this moment, Ji couldn't bear to watch this any longer. She reminded Jiang Yuchu, can't you just leave the word fiancé aside? Hearing this, Jiang Yuchu suddenly came to a realization. Of course she can become Ji's family. Jiang Yuchu immediately said to Xiao Ji. Ji was right. Since Xiao Ji couldn't understand the meaning of fiancé, then she should just leave the word fiancé out. That's good. Xiao Ji gave a sound of acknowledgement. Actually, if not for the fact that Jiang Yuchu and Jiang Yushin were Ji's family, she would have already attacked them. Why would she waste time talking nonsense here? Following this, Xiao Ji looked at Ji expectantly. Seeing Ji nod silently, she immediately smiled happily. Ji, what's the relationship between you and Xiao Ji? Jiang Yushin was becoming more and more interested in Xiao Ji. In the end, she couldn't help but ask. Didn't I tell you before? You can treat her as my younger sister. Ji was a little confused. She had clearly explained it before. You want me to treat her as your younger sister? Does that mean you have some other relationship with her? Jiang Yushin continued to ask. Forget it, I'll just say it directly. Hearing Jiang Yuxin's question, Ji could only explain more clearly. Xiao Ji is actually not a human. She's a demonic beast called the Calamity Bone Dragon. Right now, she can be considered to have an inseparable relationship with me. After a simple explanation, Ji couldn't be bothered to continue explaining. In any case, you don't have to worry. She won't hurt us. In reality, Jiang Yushin wasn't worried about whether they would be hurt. An inseparable relationship. Jiang Yushin looked deeply at Xiao Ji. She immediately felt that this little girl was a huge threat. She's actually a demonic beast. On the other hand, Jiang Yuchu was astonished. Demonic beasts could actually transform into human form. This completely refreshed Jiang Yuechu's understanding of demonic beasts. In her impression, demonic beasts were all ferocious and cruel. As for Xiao Jiyu, it was the complete opposite. Innocent, pure, and adorable. At this time, Jiyu suddenly sensed that Murongzi Li was at the entrance of the Zijin temple, looking over here. Manor Head Murong. Jiyu immediately turned around and said to Murongzi Li, "It has been a while since we last met. I didn't expect you to have already reached the 9th level of the Tongxian realm." Murongzi Li's tone revealed a trace of surprise. Hearing those words, Jiang Yuchu was first surprised. Then, she felt happy. He was happy that Jiyu had become so strong. As for Jiang Yushin, she was also happy about this. But when he thought of his own cultivation level, which was at the 7th level of the defensive profound realm, he was shocked. This was the result of her hard work during this period of time. As for Jiyu, she had already cultivated to the 9th level of the Tongxian realm. The difference was too great. Thinking that she couldn't help Jiyu at all now, Jiang Yushin couldn't help but feel a bit dejected. At the same time, Jiyu was also surprised. But what surprised him was that Manor Head Murong actually saw through his cultivation with a single glance. Could it be that it was the effect of Manor Head Murong's amethyst eyes? Jiyu suddenly thought of the first time he saw Murongzi Li. Through the system, he discovered that Murongzi Li had the bloodline eye technique amethyst eyes. Moreover, he had comprehended the amethyst eyes. It was a pity that Jiyu had only comprehended the second half of the cultivation manual. If it was the first half of the cultivation manual, then it would be fine. Only the second half of the cultivation manual was useless. In any case, there was a beginning of the first half, so he knew how to cultivate at the beginning. But there was only the end of the second half, so he didn't even know how to cultivate at the beginning. Jiyu thought for a moment. If there was a chance in the future, he had to obtain the first half of the bloodline eye technique amethyst eyes from Manor Head Murong. Apart from Manor Head Murong, Jiyu hadn't discovered any other bloodline eye techniques. Such a rare bloodline eye technique was undoubtedly very powerful. Also, why are you dressed like a member of the Temple of Evolution? Murongzi Li asked again. When this question was asked, Jiang Yuchu and Jiang Yushin were both stunned. Even Jiyu herself was slightly taken aback. Manor Head Murong could even see this with a single glance. This was out of his expectations. Yuchu, Yushin, quickly get away from him. At the same time, Murongzi Li sent a message to Jiang Yuchu and Jiang Yushin through mental communication. Jiyu. Jiang Yushin's expression gradually became incredulous as she looked at Jiyu in disbelief. Although Jiang Yuchu also found it hard to believe, Manor Head Murong definitely wouldn't say such a thing for no reason. Let's go back first. Jiang Yuchu hurriedly pulled Jiang Yushin away from Jiyu. Chapter 404. Why are you so agitated? It's not like I'm going to do anything to you. Jiyu smiled awkwardly. Hearing this, Jiang Yuchu and Jiang Yushin immediately stopped in their tracks. They looked at Jiyu with complicated expressions. The two of them understood that they had just been in close contact with Jiyu for so long. If Jiyu wanted to make a move, with her 9th stage Tongxian realm cultivation, they wouldn't be able to run at all. However, Manor Master Murong wouldn't make that kind of joke. Moreover, Jiyu's outfit was very similar to that of the people from the Evolution Temple. After hesitating for a while, Jiang Yuchu and Jiang Yushin didn't move. Since they had to choose, they were more willing to believe in Jiyu than Manor Master Murong. Not only that, even Murongzi Li felt that it was a bit strange. She remembered it clearly. Jiyu's outfit was definitely the uniform of the people from the Evolution Temple. However, when Yuchu and Yushin had been in contact with Jiyu for so long, Jiyu indeed didn't make a move against them. Could it be that Jiyu had other intentions? At this time, Murongzi Li's gaze fell on the little girl next to Jiyu. She felt an extremely dangerous aura from this little girl. However, she couldn't see through it no matter what. Compared to Jiyu, this little girl was clearly more dangerous. Because Murongzi Li didn't hear the conversation between Jiyu, Jiang Yuchu, and Jiang Yushin, she didn't know that this little girl was transformed from a demonic beast. Don't be nervous, don't be agitated. Let's go in and have a good chat first, Ji Yu said with a smile. Then, she slowly walked into the violet gold hall. Murong Zili was silent. She also wanted to see what Ji Yu was up to. Jiang Yuchu and Jiang Yushin both chose to believe Ji Yu. She believed that Ji Yu wouldn't hurt them. Therefore, they still returned to Ji Yu's side and walked into the violet gold palace together. I'm sorry for suspecting you. Me too. As soon as the two of them returned to Ji Yu's side, they started to apologize. It's all right. Ji Yu smiled nonchalantly. Normal people would do that. It's already very good that you're willing to believe me now. After all, when they were very young, the people of the Azure Water Branch Hall had brought fatal harm to their entire family. On the contrary, Ji Yu was surprised that they could trust her so quickly. Even so, Jiang Yuchu and Jiang Yushin still felt a little guilty. Along the way, Murong Zili seemed to be unperturbed. In fact, he was constantly paying attention to Ji Yu behind him. As long as Ji Yu showed any signs of attacking the two girls, she would immediately stop him. However, until they walked into the Violet Gold Palace and sat down, Ji Yu's expression was as calm as usual. Ji Yu, what are you trying to do? Murong Zili asked solemnly. For the Evolution Temple, or Azure Water Branch Hall. Although she didn't know much, she knew a lot of things. According to her observation, the people of the Azure Water Branch Hall had a purpose every time they acted. And no matter who it was, once they entered the Azure Water Branch Hall, after they came out, they didn't care about old friendships or even family. Basically, Ji Yu definitely had a purpose for coming back this time. However, Murong Zili reckoned that Ji Yu's purpose for coming back this time wasn't Jiang Yuchu and Jiang Yushin, but something else. What purpose? I just came back to see Yuchu and Yushin, Ji Yu said with an indifferent expression. That's all? Murong Zili asked. Clearly, she didn't believe what Ji Yu said. That's all. Ji Yu nodded and said, however, I have to tell you why I joined the Azure Water Branch Hall. As expected, Murong Zili's eyes flickered slightly. She wasn't wrong. Ji Yu really did join the Azure Water Branch Hall. She didn't know what happened a while ago. With Ji Yu's strength, she shouldn't have been so easily captured by the Azure Water Branch Hall. Hearing this, Jiang Yuchu and Jiang Yuashin's expressions changed slightly. They weren't willing to accept this fact. Then what about me? At this moment, a familiar voice suddenly came from outside the hall, interrupting them. Ji Yu subconsciously turned around and found that it was Qi Ling-er. Chapter 405. Of course, there's also you. Didn't I come directly to the Violet Gold Palace? It's just that I didn't see you earlier, Ji Yu said in an adaptable manner. That's good. Qi Ling-er was delighted. Her face was slightly red. Let's continue the topic. Ji Yu turned to look at Murong Zili. Although I've joined the Kanglan Palace, I'm not under their control. Besides, you're not the target of the Kanglan Palace. You don't have to worry. I came back this time just to see them. As for whether or not Mansion Master Murong believes me, I can only say that it will depend on what you think. Murong Zili fell into a short silence. She couldn't tell that Ji Yu was lying at all. However, her sharp intuition told her that Ji Yu was still hiding something. I believe you. After a moment of silence, Murong Zili said. To her, it didn't matter what Ji Yu was hiding. As long as Ji Yu didn't do anything harmful to the Chenyuan Palace, it was fine. Hearing that Ji Yu wasn't affected by anything bad, Jiang Yuchu and Jiang Yushin couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. As for Qi Ling-er, she had never heard of the Kanglan Palace. She didn't understand what Ji Yu was talking about at all. Ji Yu, what's the Kanglan Palace? Qi Ling-er asked curiously. How should I put it? Anyway, it's a very powerful force. You don't have to worry so much, Ji Yu said perfunctorily. Since Qi Ling-er didn't know what the Kanglan Palace was, it was best that she didn't know about it in the future. That way, there would be one less person to worry about him. Oh, although the atmosphere was a little strange, Qi Ling-er didn't continue to care about the Kanglan Palace since Ji Yu said so. As if nothing had happened, Ji Yu accompanied them to play for the entire afternoon. At this time, Ji Yu saw that the sky was gradually darkening. All right, it's about time for me to head back. With that, Ji held Xiaogu's hand and prepared to leave. Ji. At this time, Jiang Yushan stopped Ji. Can't my sister and I go with you? That won't do. You'd better stay in the Chenyuan martial house. Ji said. But, Jiang Yushan still wanted to say something, but she was interrupted by Jiang Yuchu. Yushan, don't be stubborn. Jiang Yuchu advised, Ji joining the Azure Water Branch Hall, there must be something important that is hard to talk about. Ji just smiled. In fact, the most important thing had already been done, but he didn't mention it. Now that he was the Azure Water Branch Hall master, it was not convenient for him to reveal everything. After all, there was still the mysterious and unknown evolving temple. At least for now, everything was fine, and that was enough. Before leaving, Ji suddenly thought of something. Estate Master Murong, I'm a bit curious. There should be something special about your eyes, right? He immediately said to Murong Zili. Why do you think so? Murong Zili asked without any change in expression. Because Estate Master saw through my cultivation with a glance, that's why I thought so. Ji naturally replied. So it's like that. Murong Zili paused for a moment and said, that's right. This Estate Master's eyes is a rather special bloodline eye technique. Then can Estate Master teach me? Ji said. Murong Zili's pupils shrunk. This Estate Master can't teach you because you don't have the same bloodline as this Estate Master. Murong Zili replied indifferently. So it's like that. I understand. Ji said, then I ask Estate Master Murong to give me a drop of essence blood. What came out of his mouth with such a calm tone was something incredible. So, this is your goal? Murong Zili's voice gradually turned cold. Of course not. Didn't I say that I came back this time to see them? Ji said helplessly, if Estate Master Murong isn't willing, then forget it. I won't force you. If she could obtain Estate Master Murong's essence blood, Ji would be able to obtain Murong clan master's bloodline through the system. First, she needed the bloodline. Then, she could cultivate the bloodline eye technique Amethyst Eyes. As for the first half of the Amethyst Eyes cultivation manual, Estate Master Murong should have it. Now that she had the blood essence and the first half of the cultivation manual, Ji could start cultivating the amethyst pupil. But looking at the current situation, Estate Master Murong probably wouldn't be willing to give her the essence blood. Although Estate Master Murong's expression didn't change, Ji could see that Estate Master Murong didn't seem to be very willing. It would be best if it was possible. If it wasn't, then it didn't matter. Besides feeling a bit regretful, Ji didn't have any other thoughts. Chapter 406. Right at this moment, Ji suddenly heard Murong Manor Master's mental communication. You want blood essence, right? It's not that I can't give it to you. However, I want you to agree to a condition. Hearing this, Ji immediately replied through mental communication, what condition? That is to help Ling get rid of the Qi family's name. Ling is too kind and has a deep psychological shadow. She can't do anything to her father and brother. So, she only wants to get rid of the Qi family's name and completely sever her relationship with her father and brother. It's not convenient for me to do this right now, so I can only rely on you. If you agree to this condition, I can give you the blood essence you want right now. Apart from Xiao Jiyu, no one else could hear the mental communication between Jiyu and Murong Zili. Xiao Jiyu didn't understand what Jiyu and Murong Zili were talking about at all, so he didn't interrupt. I can agree. Jiyu replied almost without hesitation. All right, then come here. Murong Zili said. Hearing this, Jiyu immediately walked towards Murong Zili. What should I do next? Just as Jiyu was about to ask this question, suddenly, Murong Zili reached out and grabbed his lapel, pulling his entire body over. Before Jiyu could react, he felt a cool and soft sensation on his lips. At this moment, Murong Zili lightly bit the tip of her tongue and sent the blood essence through their lips. Jiyu was dumbfounded. Giving him blood essence was actually so stimulating. At the same time, a notification came from the system. Ding! The host has obtained the blood essence of a direct descendant of the Murong family. triggering 999 times absorption ability. At this moment, Ji-Yu's blood changed quite a bit. He could feel that there was already a part of the Murong family's blood in his body. Moreover, it was the purest direct descendant's blood. Jiang Yuchu, Jiang Yushin, and Qi Ling-er's reactions were even more intense. The three women were dumbstruck at this shocking scene. Done. At this time, Murong Zili pushed Ji-Yu away again. At the same time, she stuffed a storage ring into Ji-Yu's hand. Remember your promise. After speaking, Murong Zili slowly walked away. Only when Murong Zili was far away did Ji-Yu, who was in a daze, return to her senses. Ji-Yu. At this time, Jiang Yushin said angrily. This has nothing to do with me, it was the manor head who forced me. Ji-Yu said awkwardly. He had never thought that Manor Master Murong would use such a method to pass his blood essence to him. As expected of you, even the manor head's master has been tainted by you. Jiang Yuchu laughed coldly. It really has nothing to do with me, Ji-Yu said helplessly. Didn't you see how scared I was just now? No matter what, Master definitely wouldn't do that kind of thing with you for no reason. Jiang Yushin said with a flushed face, you definitely did something. Qi Ling-er covered her eyes shyly. She was so shocked that she couldn't say anything. As for Xiao Ji-Yu, she didn't have any thoughts about what had just happened. What's so strange about that? Xiao Ji-Yu said matter-of-factly, isn't this a very normal thing? I've done it with Ji-Yu before. At this moment, Jiang Yuchu and Jiang Yushin were both speechless. You've also kissed Ji-Yu before? Jiang Yushin stuttered as she looked at Xiao Ji-Yu in shock. Can I say that was also an accident? At this moment, Ji-Yu interjected. However, no one paid him any attention. Oh, so that's called kissing. Xiao Ji-Yu nodded and said, that's right. I've already kissed Ji-Yu before. Don't tell me you haven't done it before. I've kissed him a long time ago. Jiang Yushin said shyly in a soft voice. So it's not. I really don't understand what's so surprising about that. Xiao Ji-Yu shook her head slowly. Upon hearing Xiao Gu's words, Jiang Yushin was rendered speechless. Chapter 407. Although Jiang Yuchu did not say anything, she was very concerned about what Xiao Ji-Yu said just now. Her younger sister and Xiao Ji-Yu had kissed Ji-Yu before, but she had not done so yet. Thinking of this, Jiang Yuchu felt a little uncomfortable in her heart. She decided that if she had the chance in the future, she would do the same thing as Ji-Yu. No matter what, she was already engaged to Ji-Yu. She was Ji-Yu's fiancé. It was not right that she had not done that before. At this time, Qi Ling-er had already recovered from her shock. Like Jiang Yuchu, she was also very concerned about it. However, she did not have the guts to do so. Now, it was already very good that Qi Ling-er could look Ji-Yu in the eyes and speak normally. She was completely unable to do such a bold thing like kissing. Oh, right. At this time, Jiang Yushin pointed the question at Ji-Yu. How could you do that to such a young girl? Didn't I just say that it was an accident? Ji-Yu said awkwardly. Who would believe your nonsense? It was an accident every time. Jiang Yushin did not believe Ji-Yu's nonsense at all. It was really an accident. Ji-Yu did not know whether to laugh or cry. He suddenly remembered that he was not the one who initiated the kiss every time. It was either a forced kiss or an accident. It was not his fault at all. Well, I have to go back. See you next time. Ji-Yu changed the topic directly. Since they were going to say goodbye, Jiang Yushin did not want to say anything more. Remember to come back and visit us often. Jiang Yuchu said to Ji-Yu with a smile. Okay. Ji-Yu also smiled slightly. Then, he left the Chenyuan Martial Mansion with Xiao Ji-Yu. Ding. The host has performed the Earth Rank Medium Level Movement Technique, Instantaneous Thunder. Instantaneous Thunder has gained 999 times the experience. Ding. Host has performed the Earth-ranked mid-level movement skill Flash of Thunder. Flash of Thunder has gained 999 times the experience. Ding. Congratulations to the host. The Earth-rank medium-grade Lightning Flash has successfully broken through to the Greater Perfection stage. Ding. It has been detected that lightning flash has reached the perfection stage, automatically upgraded to the superior Earth-ranked movement technique shadowless lightning flash. Ji Yu immediately used her movement technique and led Xiao Jiyu to that remote place where there was no one around. Along the way, his movement technique had also broken through to the perfection stage and upgraded to the superior Earth-rank shadowless lightning flash. After arriving here, Ji Yu could ask Xiao Jiyu to fly her back to the Azure Water Branch Hall. Not long after, Ji Yu and Xiao Jiyu returned to the Deep Sea Branch Hall. Lord Palace Master. Lord Palace Master. On the way back to the residence, everyone who saw Ji Yu, be it ordinary disciples, deacons, or guardians, would greet her respectfully without exception. After returning to the residence to rest, Ji Yu began to think about something. It was the condition that he had agreed to with Mansion Master Murong. Since he had agreed to it, he would definitely deal with the matter regarding Qi. However, he had to plan how to deal with it first. After all, Ji Yu was now the palace master of the Deep Sea Branch Hall. She could not leave the branch for too long. Suddenly, an idea flashed through Ji Yu's mind. He had thought of a very good idea. That was to slightly edit the matter regarding Qi and post it as a mission in the Bounty Hall. That way, he would be able to deal with the matter legitimately. Next, I should try to cultivate the purple glazed eyes bloodline. With that thought in mind, Ji Yu took out the storage ring that Mansion Master Murong had given her. It was a jade blue storage ring that emitted a faint fragrance. Ding! Host has activated his spiritual power to open the storage ring. Silver level spiritual power. Experience gained, 1 by 999 times. After opening the storage ring, she found that there was only a scroll inside. Obviously, this was the cultivation manual for the first half of the purple glazed eyes bloodline. Ding! Host has taken a look at the cultivation manual for the purple glazed eyes bloodline. 999 times comprehension ability. Ding! Congratulations, host, you have successfully mastered the purple glazed eyes bloodline. After taking out the scroll and taking a look, Ji Yu had mastered the purple glazed eyes bloodline. At this moment, his eyes changed. His black pupils did not change. Instead, the iris around his pupils gradually turned into a purple glazed eyes bloodline. At the junction between the white of his eyes and the iris, there was a faint glazed eyes bloodline. At this moment, Ji Yu realized that the world in front of him was very different from before. Whether it was the dust on the ground or the tiny bugs in the cracks of the walls, he could see everything clearly. In other words, Ji Yu's eyesight had improved significantly. Moreover, Ji Yu could activate and deactivate the purple glazed eyes bloodline on his own. When he thought about it, his eyes returned to normal. When he thought about it again, his eyes immediately changed again. Ding! Host has activated the bloodline eye technique, purple glazed pupil. Experience gained, 1 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, host. The purple glazed eyes bloodline has successfully broken through to the thoroughly meticulous realm. When Ji Yu activated the purple glazed eyes bloodline again, the purple glazed eyes bloodline instantly broke through to the next realm. Chapter 408. Through the first half of the purple glazed pupil bloodline cultivation manual, Ji Yu learned the different levels of the purple glazed pupil. Being meticulous and observing the qi as if it was real. These were the first 2 levels recorded in the first half of the manual. Actually, the purple glazed pupil had a total of 4 levels, but only the second half of the manual recorded how to cultivate the last 2 levels. Seeing through illusion, purple glazed transformation. These were the last 2 levels. First was the first level, meticulous. Actually, it was to strengthen one's eyesight. One could see further and clearer, and one's observation ability would become stronger. Now, Ji Yu's purple glazed pupil had reached the meticulous level. His eyesight was even better than before. Everything around him became clearer and brighter. Even the veins on the trees outside the house could be seen clearly. However, his current ability was still very average. Ji Yu planned to cultivate the purple glazed pupil to the second level, which was the aura observation level. Ding! Host has read the purple glazed pupil cultivation manual for 1 minute. Purple glazed pupil experience points gained, 1 by 999 times. Ding. Host has read the Purple Glazed Pupil Cultivation Manual for 1 minute. Purple Glazed Pupil Experience Points gained. 1 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations, host. Your bloodline Purple Glazed Pupil has successfully broken through to the aura observation level. After about an hour, GU cultivated the Purple Glazed Pupil to the second level, aura observation. At this moment, he realized that he could actually see the Xian Qi that permeated the air, like thin threads intersecting each other. Xian Qi was originally illusory and could not be seen with the naked eye. But now, it was clearly displayed in front of GU's eyes. Without a doubt, this was the effect of cultivating the Purple Glazed Pupil to the aura observation level. According to the description in the first half of the secret manual, when the Purple Glazed Pupil reached the second level, the effect of cultivating Xian Qi would be greatly improved. He didn't know if it was true or not. In order to verify it, GU immediately began to cultivate. At this moment, he realized that he was more sensitive to the Xian Qi around him. Simply put, it was easier for him to absorb the Xian Qi around him. Ding. Host has cultivated Xian Qi for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation experience gained, 200 by 999 times. Ding. Host has cultivated Xian Qi for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation experience gained, 200 by 999 times. Compared to before, the effects of GU's Xian Qi cultivation had doubled. Moreover, this was only the first stage of observing Qi as real. There were a total of 3 stages in the realm of Qi observation. The higher the stage, the stronger the effect of cultivating Xian Qi. However, it would take a lot of time to reach the second stage. It was getting late. GU didn't want to continue for the time being. He planned to continue cultivating the amethyst pupil in the future. At this moment, GU looked at Xiao Jiyu, who was sitting beside her and eating candy. He suddenly remembered that he hadn't bought new clothes for Xiao Jiyu yet. All this time, he had always let Xiao Jiyu wear his own clothes. Xiao Jiyu, I'll take you to buy some clothes now. Jiyu said. Clothes? I don't care about those things. Xiao Jiyu said calmly, it's enough to wear your clothes. Let's buy a few sets to try first. As he said that, Jiyu pulled Xiao Gu's hand and prepared to leave the room. All right, Xiao Jiyu didn't have any objections and allowed Jiyu to pull her along. Very soon, Jiyu brought Xiao Jiyu to the Azure Water Branch Hall's trading center. The trading center was naturally the area where all kinds of things were traded. Those who set up shops and stalls here were all from the Azure Water Branch Hall. This was because the Azure Water Branch Hall didn't trade with external merchants or powers. Jiyu brought Xiao Jiyu into a shop that looked decent. It specialized in selling clothes. Hall master. The hall master of this shop was stunned when he saw Jiyu walk in. Then, he exclaimed in shock. Jiyu saw that the other party was a youth and an ordinary disciple. She nodded slightly. I'm here to buy a set of clothes. Hall master, please come in. That youth hurriedly said respectfully. Jiyu followed the youth into the shop. Hall master, do you want to buy clothes for yourself? The youth asked. No. Jiyu looked at Xiao Jiyu. I want to buy clothes for her. Ha! The youth slowly looked at the little girl beside the hall master. He suddenly recalled that he heard 2 days ago that the hall master had a terrifyingly powerful little girl by his side. Could it be this girl in front of him? Regardless of whether it was true or not, he didn't dare to delay and immediately helped these 2 important figures choose clothes. Jiyu wasn't in a hurry either. But after a while, he realized that this shop didn't seem to have many clothes for children. That person only found a few sets after searching for so long. Chapter 409. Palace Master, please take a look. At this moment, that youth had picked out a few sets of clothes and showed them to Jiyu. Jiyu took a look and felt that white and blue matched Xiao Jiyu well. Then, she picked out a white and a blue and white dress. How many points do these 2 sets of clothes cost? Jiyu directly asked about the price. No need, no need. That youth shook his head and said, Palace Master, you can just take them away. As an ordinary disciple, it was already the fortune of 3 lifetimes to be able to see the Palace Master. How would he dare to ask the palace master for points? Ji Yu didn't hesitate. Since the other party didn't want them, then she didn't want them. After returning to the room, Ji Yu first let Xiao Jiyu try on the blue and white dress. Xiao Jiyu looked at the dress in her hands with disdain. She was obviously very unwilling. This kind of dress will definitely be very uncomfortable. I clearly only need to wear your clothes, Xiao Jiyu said. Say, don't you have aesthetic standards? Jiyu said, you'll definitely look better wearing this blue and white dress than wearing my clothes. Aesthetic standards? What's that? I don't need it. Xiao Jiyu shook her head and said. In any case, just wear it. After you wear it, I'll give you candy to eat. Jiyu said. The best way to make Xiao Jiyu listen to her was to tempt her with candy. You have candy. Xiao Jiyu was delighted. Then, she reluctantly agreed. All right then. Xiao Jiyu quickly took off her original clothes and changed into the blue and white dress. Because it was her first time wearing this kind of dress, she was very unfamiliar with it. Moreover, she had to be careful not to use too much force. Otherwise, it would easily tear the clothes. After a long time, Jiyu even helped her a little. Finally, she was done changing. At this moment, Jiyu sized her up. Her taste was indeed correct. Xiao Jiyu obviously looked much more lively and cute in this dress than before. All right, can you give me candy now? Xiao Jiyu directly asked Jiyu. Jiyu immediately gave her a few candies. Only this little? That's too little. Xiao Jiyu was still not satisfied. Give me more. It's already so late, and don't eat too much candy today. I'll give it to you tomorrow. Jiyu refused. Forget it. Xiao Jiyu knew that he couldn't force it, so he gave up. Change back into my clothes when you go to bed at night and wear these two dresses during the day. Jiyu urged. I know. It's so troublesome. Xiao Jiyu said unwillingly. It was also because she was eating candy that she didn't care too much about it. The next day, Xiao Jiyu obediently put on the blue and white dress. Jiyu was handling matters in the main hall, while Xiao Jiyu was sitting on his lap as usual, eating sweets. Ding. The host has reviewed it for 1 minute. Silver level memory experience gained, 1 by 999 times. Ding. The host has reviewed it for 1 minute. Silver level memory experience gained, 1 by 999 times. He quickly finished all the work for the day. Jiyu immediately issued a mission. It was a mission to suppress the Qi family. As for the mission information, Jiyu casually made it up. The Qi family of the Wanshan Empire was heartless and committed all kinds of crimes. Then, he accepted the mission himself. In this way, he could legitimately fulfill the promise he made to Mansion Master Murong. Moreover, Qi Ling-er's scumbag father and brother. He had disliked them for a long time. After that, Jiyu immediately set off and returned to the Chenyuan Marshal Mansion with Xiao Jiyu. At this moment, Jiyu was already in the purple gold main hall of the Chenyuan Marshal Mansion. Inside the purple gold temple, there were only Jiyu and Murong Zili, 2 people. Jiang Yuchu, Jiang Yushin, and Qi Ling-er happened to not be here. You're back so soon? Murong Zili asked. I'm here to fulfill the promise I made to you. Also, I'll return this to you. With that, Jiyu returned the storage ring to Murong Zili. The storage ring contained the first half of the glazed amethyst pupil cultivation manual. Have you memorized it? Murong Zili couldn't help but ask in surprise when Jiyu returned the manual so quickly. Yes. Jiyu nodded. But in fact, what Murong Zili meant by have you memorized it, was asking if Jiyu had written down the contents of the secret book on paper. After all, it was unrealistic to cultivate the glazed amethyst pupil to the Qi observation realm in 1 day. Even she herself had taken a month to reach the realm of observing Qi as real. Then I'll send someone to call Ling-er over now. Murong Zili said. About a few minutes later, Qi Ling-er arrived. Jiyu, why are you looking for me? P.S. End of 3rd update. Chapter 410. Wan Shan Empire, Qi Clan. I'm going to bring you there. Jiyu replied. Qi Clan, Qi Ling-er's face turned pale immediately. Those two words instantly reminded her of the terrifying past that was deeply imprinted in her heart. Don't be afraid. I'm here. What are you afraid of? Ji-yu comforted her. But how did you know about those things? Qi Ling-er's expression was still unsightly. Of course, Clan Master Murong told me. Ji-yu replied. Qi Ling-er looked at Murongzili and saw Murongzili nodding silently. She did not say anything else. On the way out of the Chenyuan martial mansion with Ji-yu, Qi Ling-er seemed to have a lot on her mind. Her father and brother. No, it should be said that they were scum. She hated them and was afraid of them at the same time. Not only that, but Qi Ling-er was also very concerned about one thing. And that was, Ji-yu. Qi Ling-er suddenly asked, why did you help me? Did my master ask you to do this, or? Who knows? Ji-yu did not answer her directly. Qi Ling-er fell silent again. Ding. Host has taken a step. Superior Earthrank movement technique, shadowless lightning flash. Obtained experience points, 1 by 999 times. Ding. Host has taken a step. Superior Earthrank movement technique, shadowless lightning flash. Obtained experience points, 1 by 999 times. Since Qi Ling-er's cultivation base was not high, she would not be able to withstand the pressure of flying with Xiao Ji-yu. Ji-yu brought them to the outside of the Chenyuan martial mansion and took a carriage. In the carriage, Qi Ling-er seemed to be absent-minded. Ji-yu changed the topic. By the way, how are you doing in the Chenyuan martial mansion? It's okay. I'm ranked second in the inner mansion. Yuchu and Yushin have also become core disciples. Yuchu is ranked third in the inner mansion, while Yushin is ranked fifth. Qi Ling-er said gloomily. That's good. Ji-yu was not good at chatting. She did not know what to talk about. When we reach the Wan Shan Empire, what do you plan to do with those two guys? Ji-yu didn't know what to talk about, so she decided to talk about business. The two fellows he was referring to were none other than Qi Ling-er's scumbag father and brother. I don't want to do anything to them. Qi Ling-er replied solemnly, I just want to leave the Qi clan and never meet them again. Getting rid of the Qi family's name isn't difficult. Ji-yu said in a relaxed tone, you can rest assured and watch my performance. Qi Ling-er's mood gradually calmed down. However, the Qi family wasn't the main thing that made her absent-minded. It's Ji-yu. The more Ji-yu refused to talk about it, the more Qi Ling-er cared about it. Did Master ask Ji-yu to do this, or did Ji-yu want to do this? Ji-yu would never have thought that Qi Ling-er would be so conflicted about this matter. When he saw Qi Ling-er's expression gradually calming down, he gave Xiao Ji-yu some candy to calm it down before he started cultivating the purple glazed eyes. Ding. Host has read the Purple Glazed Eyes cultivation manual for 1 minute. Purple Glazed Eyes gained experience points, 1 by 999 times. Ding. Host has read the Purple Glazed Eyes cultivation manual for 1 minute. Purple Glazed Eyes gained experience points, 1 by 999 times. After some time, Ji-yu sensed that the purple glazed eyes had reached the second stage of aura discernment. The Xian Qi of heaven and earth around him immediately became clearer, and he could see more Xian Qi lines. Ji-yu tried to cultivate Xian Qi. Ding. Host has cultivated Xian Qi for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation gained experience points, 300 by 999 times. Sure enough, the effect of cultivating Xian Qi improved by quite a bit. Soon, the carriage arrived at the place where they could take the spirit ship. The spirit ship in the royal city could travel to any place in the Kanglan Empire. It could even travel outside of the Kanglan Empire. Ji-yu bought 2 tickets for a high-class room. He had asked Xiao Ji-yu for her opinion, and she said that she didn't want to be separated from him, even if it was just a room apart. Therefore, he only needed 2 tickets. Ji-yu and Xiao Ji-yu were in one room, while Qi Ling-er was in another. Chapter 4:11. Half a day later, in the spirit ship. They arrived at the borders of the Kanglan Empire from the royal city. The entire journey would take at least a few days. Although Qi Ling-er was in another room, she often liked to come to Ji-yu's room. Don't you have your own room? Why do you keep coming to my room? Seeing that Qi Ling-er had come to his room for the umpteenth time, Ji Yu couldn't help but ask. "I just want to come and see you more. Can't I?" Qi Ling-er whispered shyly. In fact, she was more concerned about the girl named Xiao Jiyu. Being alone in a room with a man, she was afraid that Jiyu and Xiao Jiyu would do something indescribable. Although she knew that she didn't have the right to interfere with Jiyu's actions. However, the thought of that kind of thing happening made her restless. However, even though she found a random excuse, she couldn't help but feel shy. "All right, do as you wish." Jiyu was a little speechless. In less than half a day, Qi Ling-er had come to his room several times. He didn't know what to say anymore. Ding. The host has read the Purple Glazed Pupil Cultivation Manual for 1 minute. The Purple Glazed Pupil Experience Points gained, 1 by 999 times. Ding. The host has read the Purple Glazed Pupil Cultivation Manual for 1 minute. The Purple Glazed Pupil Experience Points gained, 1 by 999 times. During the half a day on the spirit ship, Jiyu had been cultivating the Purple Glazed Pupil Bloodline technique. Now, he had finally reached the 3rd stage of the Purple Glazed Pupil's aura observation realm. After that, he would reach the 3rd major realm, seeing through illusion. However, Jiyu didn't plan to start cultivating the 3rd major realm now. After all, at his current speed, if he wanted to break through to the 3rd seeing through illusion realm, he would need at least 2 to 3 days. He would rather use this time to improve his cultivation. Thinking of this, Jiyu decided to use this opportunity to see how effective his Celestial Kai cultivation was. Ding. The host has cultivated Celestial Kai for 1 minute. The Martial Arts Cultivation Experience Points gained, 1000 by 999 times. Ding. Host has cultivated Shen Qi for 1 minute. Martial Arts Cultivation Experience gained, 1000 by 999 times. After a while, Jiyu could clearly feel the effects of her cultivation increasing. However, part of the reason for this was that the quality of the profound energy in the high-grade rooms of the spirit ship was much higher than in the outside world. If he wasn't in a high-level room right now, in that case, the amount of experience he gained per minute should be 500 by 999 times. Even so, the effect of cultivating Shen Qi was 5 times better than before he comprehended the amethyst pupil. At this time, the sky outside had already darkened. Coincidentally, the amethyst eyes had also made a breakthrough. Jiyu decided to go to bed first. It was also at this moment that he realized that Xiao Jiyu had already fallen asleep on his lap. She used his legs as a pillow. Jiyu smiled. Then, he gently helped Xiao Jiyu up and carried her to the bed. As for himself, he was lying outside the bed. Xiao Gu's sleeping posture had always been very bad. There wasn't a single day when he slept peacefully. If he let her sleep outside, by the next day, it was very likely that she would sleep under the bed. So now, Jiyu was sleeping outside the bed. In this way, no matter how bad Xiao Gu's sleeping posture was, it wouldn't be too bad. After a while, Xiao Gu's bad sleeping posture was reflected. She rolled and directly rolled onto Jiyu's body. And her position was opposite to Jiyu's. Xiao Gu's foot stepped on Jiyu's chin. How could Jiyu tolerate this? He immediately moved her restless foot away. Otherwise, if Xiao Jiyu accidentally kicked him hard later, his chin would be in trouble. Right at this moment, as Jiyu's attention was focused on Xiao Jiyu, he didn't notice that the door of the room was secretly opened by Qi Ling-er. After all, apart from Qi Ling-er, he didn't give anyone else the key to this room. It was also because of this that Jiyu didn't expect that someone would barge in so late at night. At this moment, Qi Ling-er secretly opened the door of the room. Then, she quietly walked into the room, still holding a pillow in her hand. The room was pitch black, and almost nothing could be seen. When Qi Ling-er slowly crept to Jiyu's bedside, Jiyu only realized that someone had barged into the room and instantly became alert. However, when he realized that it was Qi Ling-er, he immediately relaxed. But in the next moment, he realized that his and Xiao Gu's positions were, it was too late. Standing beside Jiyu's bed, Qi Ling-er couldn't see clearly although it was still very dark. However, she could roughly see Jiyu's and Xiao Gu's current positions. Especially in such a blurry situation, this posture was very awkward. Chapter 4:12. Upon hearing Qi Ling-er's voice, Ji-yu immediately realized that something was amiss. Don't misunderstand. It's her bad sleeping posture. Ji-yu immediately explained, if you don't believe me, you can turn on the lights. Turn on the lights. Qi Ling-er lost her grip on the pillow and it fell to the ground. It was one thing for Ji-yu to do that to Xiao Ji-yu, but he actually wanted her to turn on the lights. At this moment, Ji-yu felt that the situation was getting worse. He decided not to explain and put Xiao Ji-yu back to her original position. Then, he turned on the oil lamp. Did you see that? We didn't do anything. As he said that, Ji-yu noticed that Qi Ling-er's face had turned red. Qi Ling-er gradually regained her consciousness after hearing Ji-yu's words. She looked at Xiao Ji-yu and then at Ji-yu's lower body. After a while, she realized that nothing had happened. Only then did the redness on his face gradually fade. What about you? Why did you come here so late at night instead of sleeping? At this moment, Ji-yu sized up Qi Ling-er. He realized that Qi Ling-er was only wearing a thin nightgown. Her exquisite figure was perfectly accentuated. Ji-yu's heartbeat quickened as he watched. Then, Ji-yu saw the pillow that had fallen to the ground. The pillow on his bed was still there. Then, this pillow, was it brought here by Qi Ling-er? At this moment, Qi Ling-er did not say anything. She picked up the pillow with a red face. Then, she climbed onto the bed without saying anything. What are you doing? Ji-yu was stunned. Why did this guy run to her bed for no reason? Qi Ling-er quickly lay down in the middle of the bed and shyly covered the lower half of her face with the blanket. You pervert, I can't let you do anything to Xiao Ji-yu, she said in a soft voice. Qi Ling-er was worried about Ji-yu sleeping with Xiao Ji-yu, so she sneaked into the room to supervise Ji-yu. But in fact, this was only one of the reasons. The other reason was that she also wanted to sleep with Ji-yu, but she was too embarrassed to say it out loud. However, he had just witnessed such a scene. Even if she was the one who had misunderstood Zhongxian, she couldn't help but feel even more worried. Therefore, she was even more determined to sleep here. Don't mess around. Why would I attack Xiao Ji-yu? Ji-yu blushed with shame and said, go back to your room obediently. It's already so late. It's time to sleep. No, I'll just sleep here. Qi Ling-er whispered. Ji-yu didn't expect that Qi Ling-er would actually plan to sleep here. If you sleep here, where will I sleep? Ji-yu pointed at Qi Ling-er and then at herself. You. Why don't you come up and sleep with me? I'll sleep in the middle. Qi Ling-er said embarrassedly. He almost covered his entire face with the blanket. Oh, that's not impossible. On the other hand, not only was Ji-yu not embarrassed at all. She even put out the oil lamp with a calm expression and lay down on the bed. Seeing Ji-yu's calm expression, Qi Ling-er suddenly felt a little flustered for some reason. She suspected that Ji-yu's wild nature was about to erupt. However, the reality was, Ji-yu fell asleep not long after lying on the bed. Qi Ling-er panicked for a while, but she didn't feel Ji-yu's movements anymore. She couldn't help but feel a little puzzled. Then, she leaned over to take a look at Ji-yu. She was surprised to find that Ji-yu had fallen asleep so quickly. Ji-yu didn't have any thoughts or actions. As for himself, his imagination was running wild, thinking about those messy scenes. Qi Ling-er instantly felt embarrassed and shy. She couldn't help but want to crawl under the blanket. After a long time, she finally calmed down a little. Then, Qi Ling-er felt a little regretful. She was lying next to Ji-yu and being so close to Ji-yu. It made her feel as if there was a little deer in her heart, and she couldn't sleep at all. Now, Qi Ling-er finally understood why Ji-yu and Xiao Ji-yu were in such a position just now. Xiao Ji-yu was really like what Ji-yu said. She had a bad sleeping posture. She liked to squeeze over to her side. Although Xiao Ji-yu didn't use much force in her sleep, Qi Ling-er couldn't squeeze past Xiao Ji-yu. Just like that, she was squeezed toward Ji-yu by Xiao Ji-yu. In a few moments, Qi Ling-er and Ji-yu touched each other. She was instantly very shy. The more she was squeezed, the more intimate the touch was. She wanted to struggle, but she didn't dare to. She was afraid that she would accidentally wake Ji-yu up. After a long time, Xiao Ji-yu finally returned to her original position. Qi Ling-er, who was so shy that she was about to cry, heaved a sigh of relief. However, before her rapid breathing could calm down, Xiao Ji-yu squeezed over again. This repeated for an entire night. Qi Ling-er was tortured. For the entire night, she didn't sleep well at all. Chapter 413. The next day. As soon as Ji-yu woke up, she noticed that Qi Ling-er was not in a good state of mind. "What happened to you? Did you not sleep well?" Ji-yu asked. "Nothing," Qi Ling-er was too embarrassed to say it out loud. She did not want to think about anything else now. All she wanted was to have a good sleep. Coincidentally, Xiao Ji-yu woke up as well. Qi Ling-er did not have to worry about being woken up by Xiao Gu's fracture. Although Ji-yu did not understand what was wrong with Qi Ling-er, she did not disturb her and allowed her to sleep on her bed. After that, Ji-yu started to cultivate his celestial qi. The effect of cultivating celestial qi on the spirit ship was very good, so he planned to make a breakthrough in his cultivation. Ding! Host has cultivated celestial qi for 1 minute. Martial cultivation experience points gained, 1000 by 999 times. Ding! Host has cultivated celestial qi for 1 minute. Martial cultivation experience points gained, 1000 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations to host. Martial cultivation has successfully broken through to mastery level 9 of the Tongxian realm. In less than a day, Ji-yu had made a breakthrough in his cultivation. Unknowingly, he was about to reach the spirit profound realm. Ji-yu could not help but sigh. Although he was only a step away from the spirit profound realm, he was still at the peak of mastery level 9 of the Tongxian realm. In fact, even he could not predict how long it would take for him to break through to the spirit profound realm. He could only take it one step at a time. It was only at this moment that Qi Ling-er finally woke up. "You slept so soundly. You slept all the way until night time." Ji-yu looked out of the window and saw that the sky was darkening. She could not help but smile. "It's all your fault," Qi Ling-er pouted shyly as she muttered under her breath. Ji-yu did not hear what Qi Ling-er was muttering, but she did not care. "It's already so late. Why don't we go and have something to eat?" Ji-yu said. "Wait, I'll go back and change my clothes first." Qi Ling-er immediately got up and arranged the blanket and pillows on the bed. Ji-yu found that Qi Ling-er's thin pajamas looked even more revealing than last night. In order to avoid awkwardness, he chose to look away. After tidying up the quilt and pillows, Qi Ling-er finally realized how unsightly she looked. She immediately turned around to look at Ji-yu and found that Ji-yu was looking somewhere else. She immediately let out a sigh of relief, but there was an inexplicable sense of regret in her heart. Qi Ling-er shook her head and hurried back to her room to change her clothes. Ji-yu was not in a hurry, so she waited patiently. After a long while, Qi Ling-er came back after changing her clothes. "I just don't understand why you humans like to wear those messy clothes." Qi Ling-er's meticulous dressing made Xiao Ji-yu shake her head. She felt that this was completely gaudy and meaningless. It was not as comfortable as not wearing clothes. "If you don't understand, then don't speak." Ji-yu casually tossed a few candies to Xiao Ji-yu, and Xiao Ji-yu immediately shut up obediently. Qi Ling-er stood there and did not speak. She looked at Ji-yu expectantly. It was as if she was waiting for Ji-yu to say something. However, Ji-yu and Qi Ling-er looked at each other for a long time. It was only then that Ji-yu suddenly said, "Why? Let's go." Qi Ling-er did not expect that Ji-yu would have such a reaction. "Could it be that you have something else to say?" Seeing that Qi Ling-er was still standing there, Ji-yu thought for a while and asked. "Forget it," Qi Ling-er sighed in her heart. She forced a smile on her face and said, "Nothing. Let's go." Ji-yu suddenly felt that Qi Ling-er seemed to be a little depressed. However, he could not figure out why, so he simply stopped thinking about it. Although the spirit ship would provide daily food, it would not be sent to every room. The passengers had to get it themselves. At this time, it was evening and time for dinner. There were many people who came to get food. Ji-yu, who was waiting in line, inadvertently found that there were many people dressed as alchemists around. Moreover, these people's soul power was stronger than ordinary people. They should be alchemists indeed. Logically speaking, under normal circumstances, there should not be so many alchemists on a spirit ship. Although there were many alchemists in the Kanglan Empire, that was because the population of the entire Kanglan Empire was very large. The actual proportion was not even 1 in 1,000. However, right now, judging from these people who were getting food, more than half of them were alchemists. It was definitely not a coincidence that so many alchemists were on the same spirit ship. Moreover, this was a spirit ship from the royal city to the Kanglan Empire. Why did so many alchemists in the royal city go to the Kanglan Empire? What was going on? Chapter 4:14. When Ji-yu first boarded the spirit ship, he didn't notice that there were so many alchemists on the ship. Then, he casually found an alchemist to ask about it. Only then did he find out that King City of the Wanshan Empire was recruiting alchemists from the Kanglan Empire in large numbers and promised generous benefits. The most popular occupation in the Wanshan Empire seemed to be beast tamers, and alchemists were considered to be less popular there. However, the royal family of the Wanshan Empire wanted to develop alchemists. The Kanglan Empire was the neighbor of the Wanshan Empire, and it happened to be one of the most prosperous empires for alchemists. However, there were too many alchemists in the Kanglan Empire, especially in places like King City where competition was high. Many of the more average alchemists even had problems making ends meet. In order to survive, many alchemists from the Kanglan Empire's King City flocked to the Wanshan Empire. If they wanted to go to the Wanshan Empire, they naturally had to leave the country first. That was why so many alchemists boarded the spirit ship to the Kanglan Empire. Ji-yu wasn't very interested in the Wanshan Empire's recruitment of alchemists. The purpose of his trip was only to help Qi Ling get rid of the Qi family's name. After receiving the food, Ji-yu returned to his room with Qi Ling. After dinner, he continued to cultivate. Ding. Host cultivated celestial Qi for 1 minute, martial arts cultivation experience gained, 1000 by 999 times. Ding. Host cultivated celestial Qi for 1 minute, martial arts cultivation experience gained, 1000 by 999 times. 3 or 4 days passed. Apart from eating and sleeping, Ji-yu had been cultivating celestial Qi. However, after cultivating for so long, he didn't feel the slightest sign of breaking through to the spirit profound realm. It seemed that cultivating celestial Qi wasn't enough to break through to the spirit profound realm. Ji-yu immediately exited his cultivation state. Since he couldn't break through, he would think about it in the future. It just so happened that the spirit ship was about to arrive at the Kanglan Empire. At this time, he could faintly feel that the spirit ship was slowly slowing down. Ji-yu looked out of the window and saw that the surroundings were desolate and bleak. The width of the river had also shrunk a lot. This should be outside the borders of the Kanglan Empire. Not far ahead, there was a ferry. The spirit ship slowly came to a stop beside the ferry. Many passengers on the spirit ship prepared to disembark one after another. Ji-yu and the others were no exception. As soon as they got off the spirit ship, they saw a large group of carriages blocking the way. Clearly, these carriages were here to steal customers. Ji-yu casually picked a carriage that looked pleasing to the eye. Please deliver it to the Wanshan Empire. All right. The coachman nodded and set off immediately. Along the way, Ji-yu didn't cultivate her celestial Kai. Instead, she cultivated her amethyst pupil. Right now, he was not in a hurry to break through that distant and hopeless spirit profound realm. It wasn't a bad idea to cultivate the violet glazed eyes bloodline to the 3rd level, see-through reality. Ding. Host has read the Amethyst Pupil Cultivation Manual for 1 minute. Amethyst Pupil experience gained, 1*999x. Ding. Host has read the Amethyst Pupil Cultivation Manual for 1 minute. Amethyst Pupil experience gained, 1*999x. Ding. Congratulations host, Your bloodline amethyst pupil has successfully broken through to the see-through reality realm. After an unknown amount of time, Jiyu's amethyst pupil finally broke through to the third level, see-through reality. However, he didn't feel any big changes in his eyes. It was as if his eyesight had become better and his field of vision had become wider. Other than that, he didn't feel anything else. Jiyu, what are you doing? At this moment, Xiao Jiyu, who was sitting at the side, spoke up. What's wrong? Jiyu looked at Xiao Jiyu and asked. At this moment, he suddenly realized that he could actually see Xiao Gu's demonic power. Although he could only see that Xiao Jiyu was a 5th-grade demonic beast, he couldn't see its exact strength. However, it was much better than before. Previously, Jiyu couldn't see through Xiao Jiyu at all. See-through reality. See-through reality. Perhaps this was the effect of the third level of the amethyst pupil? Moreover, see-through reality was the same as see-through reality. It also had 3 stages. Right now, Jiyu was only at the first stage. If he cultivated to the second or even the third stage later on, then, he would probably be able to see through Xiao Gu's demonic power. On the other hand, if he could see through Xiao Gu's demonic power, who else could hide their cultivation level in front of him? This ability didn't seem very useful, but it was actually very useful. As the saying goes, only by knowing yourself and your enemy can you win 100 battles. Candy, it's been so long and you still haven't given me any candy. Xiao Jiyu reached out and asked for it as usual. Only then did Jiyu realize that he had been cultivating the amethyst pupil for a day or two. Then, he should be reaching the WN Shan Empire soon. Chapter 4:15. Jiyu gave Xiao Jiyu some candy and waited for the carriage to arrive at the Wanshan Empire. The Wanshan Empire was different from the Kanglan Empire. One could enter and exit the empire by land. In the Kanglan Empire, one had to take a spirit ship to enter and exit the empire. After all, there were many rivers in the Kanglan Empire. Those rivers occupied at least a quarter of the Kanglan Empire's territory. Before they arrived at the Wanshan Empire, Jiyu could see the huge city wall in front of them. The Wanshan Empire's territory must be behind the huge city wall. We're almost at the Wanshan Empire. At this time, Jiyu asked Qiling, do you remember where the Wanshan Empire's king city is? It'll be better if you remember the exact location of the Qi family's mansion. I don't remember. Qiling shook her head. She had been living a miserable life in the Qi family since she was born. Even her freedom was restricted. She only had a few chances to leave the house. Therefore, she didn't know where the Qi family's mansion was. She only knew that it was in King City. She didn't even know where King City was. Okay, I'll buy a map when we get there, Jiyu said. About half an hour later, the carriage finally entered the Wanshan Empire's city wall. After getting off the carriage, Jiyu looked around. She found that this was a military base. It was the base of the Wanshan Empire's army. After all, this was the border city wall. The security must be very tight. There were almost no ordinary residents around. There were only a few ordinary houses. However, there were many merchants and carriages coming and going. Coincidentally, Jiyu bought a map of the Wanshan Empire from one of the merchants. From the map, the Wanshan Empire was mostly land. There were not many rivers. In other words, it was a suitable place for demonic beasts to live. It was no wonder that the most popular occupation in the Wanshan Empire was beast tamer. King City was located in the southeast of the Wanshan Empire. From where Jiyu and the others were at, they could reach the Wanshan Empire's King City as long as they kept going forward. In order to resolve this matter as quickly as possible, Jiyu immediately used her movement technique to bring Qiling and Xiao Jiyu to the royal city. Before those merchants could react, Jiyu and the others had already disappeared without a trace. Ding! Host has used Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless Lightning Flash has gained 999 times experience. Ding! Host has used Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless Lightning Flash has gained 999 times experience. Ding! Congratulations, host. The superior Earth rank Shadowless Lightning Flash has successfully broken through to the initial success stage. In just a few minutes, Ji Yu arrived at the royal city with Qi Ling and Xiao Ji. Due to the high-grade earth rank movement technique's consumption of profound qi was too great. Halfway through, Ji Yu even took 2 pills to recover her profound qi, which was why she was barely able to hold on until now. Now that they were in the royal city, the general map from before was no longer useful. Ji Yu went to buy a map of King City. Only then could they find the location of the Qi residence and know where to go. They followed the route on the map. Ji Yu once again used her movement technique to bring Qi Ling and Xiao Ji to the Qi residence. Due to their extremely fast speed, no one could see them on the road. Soon, the entrance of the Qi residence appeared in front of the 3 of them. Looking at the familiar yet strange mansion before her, Qi Ling expression turned complicated. "Who are you people?" After a few seconds, the guards at the entrance of the Qi residence finally noticed that 3 unfamiliar people had appeared at the entrance. "She's the second miss of the Qi family. Don't you recognize her?" Ji Yu was the first to speak. "Second miss? What second miss? Since when did the Qi family have a second miss? Isn't there only the first young master Qi?" "I don't know. I've been a guard at the Qi residence for 3 years, and I've never heard of the second miss. I've only been here for a year, and I've never heard of the second miss." After the guards heard this, they all looked at each other in dismay. Ji Yu was surprised to hear that none of them recognized Qi Ling. He subconsciously glanced at Qi Ling. He saw that Qi Ling had lowered her head slightly, and she looked a little gloomy. Chapter 416. At this moment, a middle-aged man walked out of the Qi mansion. When he saw that the guards were not standing properly, he asked, "What's going on?" "Elder Qi Yang." "Elder, there's a woman here who claims to be the second miss of the Qi clan." The guards turned around and reported respectfully. "The second miss of the Qi clan?" Qi Yang's expression changed. He pushed the guards in front of him aside. He was stunned when he saw the young lady in front of him. "Ling it's really you?" Qi Yang exclaimed in shock. Even though he had not seen her for 5 years, he could not be mistaken. The young lady was none other than the second miss of the Qi clan, Qi Ling. Qi Ling was slightly taken aback as well. "Uncle Yang?" Ji Yu noticed that Qi Ling and the middle-aged man seemed to know each other, so she did not say anything. Instead, she stood by the side and watched quietly. As for Xiao Ji, it was even more impossible for her to say anything. She would not pay attention to things that had nothing to do with her. Moreover, she was eating candy right now. She did not have the time to care about anything else. As for the guards, they were all bewildered. They did not know that there was a second miss of the Qi clan. However, why did the elder seem to know this young lady? "Ling, why are you back?" Qi Yang asked anxiously. "Didn't you go to the Kanglan Empire with the second miss?" "Uncle Yang, I'm back because..." Qi Ling paused when she said this. "I'm the one who brought her here. I have something to discuss with the master of the Qi clan." When Ji Yu saw that Qi Ling was hesitant to speak, she decided to get straight to the point. The master of the Qi clan that she was talking about was none other than the clan leader of the Qi clan, Qi Ling's father. However, a scumbag like him was not qualified to be her father. Qi Yang's eyes widened slightly when he heard those words. He asked, "You are?" "I'm Qi Ling's friend, Ji Yu." Ji Yu replied honestly without any hesitation. "Who's this?" Qi Yang looked at the young lady standing behind Ji Yu. It was only then that he noticed that the young lady's appearance was a little peculiar. Be it her seductive beauty, the horns on her head, or the tail behind her back, she did not look like a normal person. Only his cultivation seemed to be very ordinary. Actually, it was because Qi Yang was only at the Tongxian realm, so he couldn't see through Xiao Gu's strength. However, he mistakenly thought that Xiao Gu's strength was very ordinary. "Don't mind me." Right at this moment, Xiao Jiyu spoke abruptly. Qi Yang couldn't help but be a little surprised. This girl's way of speaking was really strange. "She's my little sister. I brought her along this time," Jiyu said perfunctorily. "I see." Qi Yang nodded, "Then follow me into the residence first." Ji-yu and the other two did not say anything as they followed Chi-yang into the Chi family mansion. As for the guards, other than feeling very surprised, they did not have any other thoughts. After all, they were not qualified to interfere in such matters. After entering the Chi family estate, Chi-yang walked for an unknown period of time before gradually coming to a stop. Ji-yu looked around and realized that there was no one around. At this moment, Chi-yang turned around. "Young master, no matter why you and Linga came back, I hope that you can leave Royal City as soon as possible. It's best if you never come back," Chi-yang said in a deep voice. "Why do you say that?" Ji-yu asked with a slight frown on her face. Chi-yang hesitated for a moment before he said, "Young master, you might not know this, but after that young lady left with Linga 5 years ago, the clan leader decided to keep everything about Linga a secret. Now, apart from the older generation, no one in the Chi family remembers Ling-er. In fact, they don't even know that Ling-er existed. If the clan leader finds out that Ling-er is back, he might put righteousness before righteousness." After hearing Chi-yang's words, Ji-yu finally understood what was going on. In her opinion, the clan leader of the Chi family deliberately removed Chi Ling-er's name from the clan leaders list in order to cover up what happened in the past. This way, no one would know what he had done in the past. It was indeed as Chi-yang had said. If the clan leader found out that Chi Ling-er was back, he would definitely make a move on Chi Ling-er in order to cover up what happened in the past. Ji-yu. At this moment, Chi Ling-er tugged on Ji-yu's sleeve and said, "Why don't we go back? After all, no one knows about me anymore. Father has also removed my name from the clan leaders list." "You still call that person your father?" Ji-yu asked in confusion. Chapter 417. However, Ji-yu did not think that Chi Ling-er was weak. Instead, she found her pitiful. After all, Chi Ling-er's current plight was all because of those two scumbags. They were the clan head and first young master of the Chi clan. Chi Ling-er was about to say something when Ji-yu interrupted her. "You don't have to say anything," Ji-yu said, "leave it to me." Chi Ling-er was stunned. She looked at Ji-yu. The calm expression on Ji-yu's face gave her a huge sense of security. She nodded obediently and didn't say anything else. "Now that you know what's going on, it's better for you to leave before the clan head finds out." Chi-yang tried to persuade Chi Ling-er. He knew that the clan head was currently dealing with other matters, so he would not know that Chi Ling-er was back. However, he saw Chi Ling-er shaking her head. "No," Ji-yu said, "why should we leave? I brought Chi Ling-er here to talk to the clan head about something." "What? You're going to look for the clan head?" Chi-yang exclaimed in shock. He did not expect that Chi Ling-er would come back with such a motive. He thought that Chi Ling-er was only here to take a look at the Chi clan. This was also one of the reasons why he had asked Chi Ling-er to follow him into the Chi clan. Otherwise, he would have been able to persuade Chi Ling-er to leave the Chi clan after sending the guards away. However, Chi-yang found it hard to believe. He had already said so much, but not only did Chi Ling-er refuse to leave, she even wanted to look for the clan head. In an instant, Chi-yang's impression of the young man before him worsened significantly. Chi Ling-er had already wanted to leave earlier, but the young man insisted on staying. Even so, Chi-yang could only bear with it. "Young master, please don't be so stubborn. I really can't meet the clan head anymore," Chi Ling-er pleaded with Chi Ling. However, Ji-yu ignored Chi-yang and turned to Chi Ling-er instead. "You seem to be on good terms with this young man, right?" "That's right. He's my uncle, and he's one of the few people who has treated me well in the past." Chi Ling-er did not know why Ji-yu suddenly asked this question, but she still nodded and replied. "Okay, I got it." Ji-yu nodded and said to Chi-yang, "Since I dare to let Chi Ling-er meet with Patriarch Chi, I naturally have full confidence. So, you can rest assured." If Chi Ling-er had shaken her head instead of nodding, he wouldn't have been so polite to Chi-yang. "Confident?" Chi-yang looked at Ji-yu strangely. Obviously, he did not believe Ji-yu at all. How confident could this young man, who was only at the 9th level of the defensive profound realm, be? As for the little girl behind him, her strength was so ordinary that he directly ignored her. Actually, It wasn't just Xiao Jiyu. Qi Yang couldn't see through Jiyu either. Moreover, Jiyu always used the qi concealment technique to hide her cultivation. In Qi Yang's eyes, Jiyu was only at the peak of 9th level of the defensive profound realm. Although this level of cultivation could be considered a rare martial arts genius at this young man's age. However, he knew the patriarch very well. The patriarch was known for being ruthless and merciless. If the patriarch insisted on making a move on Qi Ling, even if this young man was a member of the royal family of the Wanshan Empire, he would not change his mind. Moreover, this young man was not a member of the royal family. In the vast Wanshan Empire, there wasn't a single Ji clan. In Qi Yang's opinion, this young man must be from the Kanglan Empire and must have a powerful force behind him. However, that was the Kanglan Empire, not the Wanshan Empire. No matter how powerful the force behind him was, it wouldn't make much difference. However, Qi Yang suddenly noticed that this young man's dressing was a little similar to the people from the Evolving Temple. But he quickly dismissed this thought. Linga was so kind. How could she mix with the people from the Evolving Temple? Moreover, the little girl who took her away 5 years ago would definitely not let her interact with the people from the Evolving Temple. You don't believe me? At this moment, Jiyu was a little helpless. It seems that I have to show you a little. As soon as he finished speaking, Jiyu's aura fluctuated slightly. He only showed a little, but it was enough to shock Qi Yang. Qi Yang sensed from Jiyu's aura that was far stronger than his own. Qi Yang's face was full of shock, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. At this moment, he finally understood. In fact, he was too weak, which was why he couldn't see through this young man's true cultivation. The most terrifying thing was that he was at least at the 6th level of the Tongxian realm. However, he sensed from this young man an aura that was far stronger than his own. Not only that, but this young man only showed a little. Then, this young man's true cultivation, what kind of terrifying level had he reached? Chapter 4:18. Now, do you believe me? The corners of Jiyu's mouth curled up. Qi Yang only regained his senses when he heard Jiyu's voice. Yes, I believe you. Qi Yang nodded immediately. Facing such a terrifying existence, how could he dare to have the slightest doubt? He didn't know how to describe this young man in words. He looked to be about the same age as Ling, but his martial arts cultivation had already surpassed Qi Yang, who was at LV6 Tongxian realm. Genius. Monster. It was an insult to this young man. Even the word prodigy was not enough to describe this young man. The current #1 prodigy of Wanshan Empire had just broken through to Tongxian realm. Qi Yang could not believe that the Kanglan Empire could produce such a peerless prodigy. Moreover, he had become Ling friend. Qi Yang was relieved. It seemed that Ling was doing well, and he did not need to worry about her. At the same time, he suddenly remembered. The lady who took Ling away 5 years ago. Qi Yang had not seen her with his own eyes, and the patriarch had deliberately kept it a secret. However, as an elder, he knew a little about it. It was said that the lady was as powerful as the patriarch. More importantly, she was about the same age as this young man. Qi Yang could not help but think. He decided that if he had the chance, he would definitely visit the Kanglan Empire. What kind of place could produce 2 peerless prodigies in the same era? Can you bring us to the patriarch of the Qi family now? Jiyu reminded him. Of course. Qi Yang did not dare to delay and immediately replied. Then, he led Jiyu and the others to the patriarch of the Qi family. Soon, Jiyu and the others followed Qi Yang to a luxurious building. This is the Qi family's meeting hall, Qi Yang said. Qi Yang said, but the patriarch seems to be discussing something with someone. Let's go in. Jiyu did not care what the patriarch of the Qi family was doing. She pushed open the door to the meeting hall. Qi Yang opened his mouth to say something. However, when he thought of the cultivation that the other party had just displayed, he immediately shut his mouth. He just stood outside and observed the situation. He didn't dare to rush in with them. Inside the conference hall, there was a middle-aged man with a face full of wrinkles and a slightly older complexion. Opposite the middle-aged man sat 3 black-clothed men. They seemed to be discussing something. However, at this moment, the sound of the door being pushed open suddenly came. "Who?" The middle-aged man didn't look over, but his expression darkened. "Didn't I say that no one is allowed to enter? Are you the patriarch of the Qi family?" Then, a voice came from the door. Judging from his voice, he didn't sound old. Moreover, this voice sounded very unfamiliar to the middle-aged man. Only then did he turn his head to look. A man and 2 women walked in, and they were all quite young. Especially when he saw a young lady with black hair, the middle-aged man's pupils suddenly constricted. "Qi Ling, why are you here?" The middle-aged man couldn't help but exclaim. Clearly, this middle-aged man was the head of the Qi clan, as well as Qi Ling's scumbag father, Qi Xiong. However, Qi Ling didn't even dare to look at Qi Xiong. Gradually, she hid behind Ji Yu. Due to the trauma in her heart, she couldn't look this person in the eye. If not for Ji Yu, she wouldn't even want to appear in front of this person. However, it wasn't just Qi Xiong who was shocked. Even the 3 black-clothed men sitting across from Qi Xiong had looks of shock on their faces. "Who are you? Why do you have the power of inheritance?" They stood up excitedly and pointed at Ji Yu. Initially, Ji Yu's attention was only on Qi Xiong. He could tell at a glance that this person was at LV9 Tongxian realm, so he guessed that this person was the patriarch of the Qi clan, Qi Xiong. At this moment, he heard a few excited voices, so he turned his attention to them. There were 3 black-clothed men. One of them was at LV9 Tongxian realm, while the other 2 were at LV8 Tongxian realm. Moreover, the clothes of these 3 men were very similar to Ji Yu's. The only difference was the pattern on their chests. This was especially so for the black-clothed man who was at LV9 Tongxian realm. Ji Yu sensed a power that was identical to her own from this person. Chapter 419. It was not difficult for Ji Yu to guess that the 3 men in black were from the evolutionary temple like her. However, they were definitely not from the Kanglan branch. In the Wanshan Empire, they should be from the Wanshan branch. Especially the man in black who was at LV9 Tongxian. He should be one of the vice leaders of the Wanshan branch. Of course, it was also possible that he was a leader, but it was unlikely. If he could really become a palace master with this kind of strength, then this myriad mountain branch palace would be too weak. "Can't you tell from my clothes?" At this moment, Ji Yu said calmly. As soon as she said that, the 3 men in black fell silent and their expressions became serious. In fact, they had guessed that this young man was from the evolutionary temple, but they were not sure. Now, they were sure. Qi Xiong's expression changed slightly when he saw this. He felt that something was wrong. "You're not from the Wanshan branch, are you?" At this moment, the man in black who was at LV9 Tongxian asked in a deep voice. He could feel the power in this young man. It was definitely the power of inheritance. Without a doubt, this young man was either a vice leader or a leader. However, there was no such person in the Wanshan branch. "No," Ji Yu said, "I came from the Kanglan Empire to deal with some matters." "I see." The man in black immediately understood. This young man was from the Kanglan branch. He suddenly remembered that not long ago, he heard that the Kanglan Empire branch had a new leader. He seemed to be called Ji Yu, and he was a young man. Thinking of this, the man in black was shocked. "Are you Ji Yu?" he asked excitedly. "Oh, you recognize me?" Ji Yu was surprised. She did not expect that someone in the distant Wanshan Empire would recognize her. "How would I dare not know Hall Leader Ji's name?" the man in black said respectfully. The young man in front of her was indeed the Kanglan branch's leader. At that time, there was news that a young man from the Azure Water Branch Hall had become the new hall master. Everyone in the Myriad Mountain Branch Hall was shocked. Although the Azure Water Branch Hall's strength and foundation weren't considered famous in the entire southern region, the Azure Water Branch Hall's strength and foundation wasn't much. However, it was still slightly better than the Myriad Mountains Branch Palace. To be able to become the new Azure Water Branch Hall Master, one would have to be at least at peak level 9 Tongxian realm. Despite being less than 18 years old, he was already at Tongxian realm perfection. It was completely unbelievable that these two conditions were placed on the same person. Just yesterday, their Lord Hall Master had warned them. In the future, if he were to meet the new Azure Water Branch Hall Master, Jiyu, even if he was not willing to curry favor with her, he must not offend her. Hall Master Ji. Hall Master Ji. When the other two black-clothed men heard those words, their reactions were extremely quick. They immediately said respectfully. Qi Xiong was frightened by this scene. Who was that young man? Why did they revere that young man so much? And what was going on with the palace master? Qi Xiong's mind raced. He soon realized that the young man had just said that he was from the Kanglan Empire, and the three of them respectfully addressed the young man as Hall Master. Could it be that the young man was the Hall Master of the Kanglan Empire Branch Hall? That was not right. How could such a young man become the Hall Master of a branch hall? Qi Xiong's expression kept changing. He immediately tried to check Ji Yu's cultivation. However, he found that he could not see through anything. He could see through such a small trick as the Qi concealment skill, so he knew that peak level 9 defensive profound realm was definitely not the young man's true cultivation. This meant that the young man was really at the Tongxian realm. Moreover, he was not an ordinary Tongxian realm expert. He was very likely to be stronger than him. The situation was getting more and more complicated. Qi Xiong's expression became a little ugly. The point was that the young man had brought Qi Ling here. It was not necessarily a bad thing, but it was definitely not a good thing. This reminded Qi Xiong of the purple-haired girl from 5 years ago. The scene from 5 years ago seemed to be just yesterday. That girl was very similar to this young man. They were almost the same age. They had almost the same terrifying talent and strength. Chapter 420. Not only Qi Xiong, but even Qi Ling was shocked. Temple Master? What's that? Since when did Ji Yu become a Temple Master? Did I disturb you earlier? Ji Yu intended to ask them about their stand first. If they were on Qi Xiong's side, he would not mind using force to solve the problem. No, it's just a small matter. The black-clad man said calmly, do as you wish, Temple Master Ji. With that, he drew a clear line between him and Qi Xiong. However, he did not intend to stand on Ji Yu's side. Instead, he chose to remain neutral. Qi Xiong's expression darkened immediately. What he had just discussed with the three of them was a very important matter. Otherwise, he would not have asked a vice-temple master and 2 elders of the Myriad Mountains sub-palace to come forward. However, the three of them made it sound like a small matter. It seemed that no matter what happened next, he would not be able to ask for help from the three of them. The Qi clan could only bear the consequences themselves. Sir, why did you bring my daughter back? Qi Xiong could not help but ask directly. Oh, you still know that she's your daughter? Ji Yu was surprised. Qi Xiong fell silent when he heard Ji Yu's tone. Seeing that Qi Xiong was speechless, Ji Yu found it very funny. My purpose is very simple. I want Qi Ling to leave the Qi clan. Ji Yu said directly. Leave the Qi clan? Qi Xiong frowned. Why? Seeing Qi Xiong's unhappy expression, Ji Yu said, you've already removed Qi Ling name from the Qi clan. Why won't you allow her to leave the Qi clan? No. Qi Xiong fell silent for a moment before he shook his head. He could not compromise on leaving the Qi clan. Is that so? Ji Yu's eyes suddenly flashed coldly. In that case, I won't waste my time talking to a scumbag like you. Before he could finish speaking, Ji Yu's figure vanished from where he stood. Ding. Host has used Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless Lightning Flash has gained 999 times proficiency experience point. Ding. Host has performed Shattering Mountains and Rivers Fist. Shattering Mountains and Rivers Fist has gained 999 times experience. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the Mastery stage of the Mystic level Superior Fist. Before Qi Xiong realized that Ji Yu had disappeared, Ji Yu had already appeared in front of him. He punched Qi Xiong in the face and knocked him to the ground, breaking several of his teeth. If not for the profound qi protecting his body, Qi Xiong might have already died. Qi Xiong covered his face in pain and looked at Ji Yu in shock. He even forgot to get up from the ground. Initially, he thought that he was at least at Tongxian realm intermediate stage. If the other party really wanted to make a move, even if he couldn't win, he could still hold on for a while. By the time the other elders arrived, they would be evenly matched. It was for this reason that Qi Xiong dared to reject the other party's request for Qi Ling to leave the clan. But he never thought that this young man's strength would be so tyrannical. He didn't even have time to react before he received a heavy blow. "Do you want to continue?" At this time, Ji Yu said coldly. As he spoke, he raised his fist again. Since the other party didn't agree, he would beat him until he did. Seeing this, Qi Xiong didn't even have time to stand up. He quickly performed his most powerful defensive profound skill. Ding! Host has performed Shattering Mountains and Rivers Fist. Shattering Mountains and Rivers Fist has gained 999 times experience. Ji Yu punched Qi Xiong again. This time, Qi Xiong blocked his face with his arms. At the same time, he also had a defensive profound skill and profound qi to protect himself. Therefore, he didn't suffer much damage. However, before Qi Xiong could catch his breath, Ji Yu's fist followed. Ding! Host has performed Shattering Mountains and Rivers Fist. Shattering Mountains and Rivers Fist has gained 999 times experience. Ding! Host has performed Shattering Mountains and Rivers Fist. Shattering Mountains and Rivers Fist has gained 999 times experience. Ding! Congratulations host, profound rank superior fist technique. Shattering Mountains and Rivers Fist has successfully broken through to the perfection realm. As Ji Yu's speed was too extreme, Qi Xiong couldn't guard against it. Just as he was about to stand up, he was beaten to the ground again. He could barely resist for the first 3 seconds, but after that, he was beaten the whole time. In the end, Qi Xiong's arms swelled painfully as he fell to the ground. His face was bruised and swollen like a pig's head. He seemed to be swallowing his last few breaths. Enduring the intense pain, he begged for mercy with great difficulty. Don't hit me. I promise you, why bother? Ji Yu cracked his knuckles and slowly shook his head. If you had agreed from the start, would this have happened? These words were spoken as if he was innocent. Qi Xiong almost spat out a mouthful of blood when he heard this, but he endured it with great difficulty. The 3 men in black who had witnessed everything that had just happened couldn't help but fiercely suck in a breath of cold air. This Hall Master Ji didn't use any weapons. He was purely barehanded, and every punch hit the flesh. It was really simple and crude to the extreme. Chapter 421. As for Qi Ling, she stood beside Xiao Jiyu without saying a word. At this moment, Qi Xiong still refused to change his mind. He used his mind to communicate with Qi Ling. Ling, can you please help me? There was a pleading tone in his voice. However, Qi Ling remained expressionless. She was not moved at all. She did not want to speak at all. She did not want to hear Qi Xiong's voice at all. This time, Qi Xiong was completely helpless. He could only get up from the ground with difficulty and slowly walk out of the hall. By the way, I advise you not to play those meaningless tricks. At this moment, Ji Yu spoke up. It's easy for me to kill you. I was just playing with you earlier. Indeed, he was only helping Qi Ling vent her anger earlier. If he really wanted to kill this scum, he could have done it with a swing of his sword. No matter what, this scum was still Qi Ling's biological father. Before Qi Ling made up her mind, he wouldn't go so far as to kill her. Qi Xiong's body trembled when he heard Ji Yu's words. A few minutes later, in the ancestral hall of the Qi clan, Ji Yu, Xiao Jiyu, Qi Ling and Qi Xiong were all here. There were many elders and disciples of the Qi clan gathered around. Most of them were attracted by the bruised and swollen face of the clan leader. No one knew what had happened. However, judging from the clan leader's appearance and the fact that he had specially come to the ancestral hall, it must be something big. As for the 3 black-robed men, they had left. After all, This matter had nothing to do with the Myriad Mountains branch hall. Hurry up. Stop wasting time. Right at this moment, Ji was slightly impatient, and she urged. How dare that man be so disrespectful to the clan leader of the Qi clan? The surrounding disciples were agitated. However, just as they were about to reprimand him, they heard the roar of the clan leader. All of you, shut up. Qi Xiong's face darkened. Are these brainless people trying to get me killed? Everyone was frightened and immediately shut their mouths. Then, Qi Xiong struggled to open his mouth. Today, our Qi clan, Qi Qi Xiong had explained the cause and effect of the incident. Although it was very brief, the most basic cause and effect was clear. This was also the reason why Qi Xiong was unwilling to allow Qi to leave the clan. According to the Qi family's rules, whenever a clansman wanted to leave the clan leader had to announce the cause and effect. Once it was announced, it would mean that what he had done would be exposed. At this moment, everyone in the surroundings had heard those words. All of them were stunned. Qi Second miss. Our Qi family actually had such a person. I vaguely remember that Patriarch Qi had a second daughter, but she seemed to have disappeared a long time ago. I didn't expect that she would appear again today. That's not the key point. What the family head and the eldest young master did to Qi is too much. I really didn't expect the patriarch and the eldest young master to be such people. Lower your voice. If the patriarch hears you, you'll be in deep trouble. Those who reacted were all enraged. The patriarch and young master that they had always respected were actually scum with a twisted mind. If it weren't for the fact that they didn't have the guts, they would have cursed out loud. Qi Xiong had long known that such a situation would happen, so he was mentally prepared. When it came to the final procedure, he gritted his teeth and insisted on finishing it. From today onward, Qi is no longer a member of the Qi family. After saying those words, Qi Xiong felt relieved. He didn't know what Qi Xiong was thinking. After hearing those words, a smile finally appeared on Qi face. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she couldn't help but hug Ji tightly. If not for Ji, she didn't know how long it would take for her to completely sever her ties with the Qi family. Feeling Qi hugging her from behind, Ji smiled in relief. This fellow should have finally gotten rid of his inner demons, right? But soon, the smile on Ji's face disappeared. Are you sure you don't need to kill him? He asked Qi calmly. As soon as those words came out, everyone fell silent. It was so quiet that it was frightening. Almost everyone was looking at Ji. Shock, horror, and panic filled their eyes. Chapter 422. You have no morals. Qi Xiong pointed at Ji in horror. He was so scared that he stuttered. I never said that I would let you go. Ji said coldly. At this moment, Qi said, I don't want to kill him. No matter what that scumbag had done, he was still her father. She couldn't do something like killing her own father, whether directly or indirectly. That was what Qi thought. As soon as Qi said that, Qi Xiong was overjoyed. However, in the next moment, he could not feel happy anymore. If you don't want to kill him, you can at least cripple his cultivation, right? Ji said. The smile on Qi Xiong's face froze. He slowly turned his head to look at Qi. However, Qi did not say a word or move at all. It was as if she was silently agreeing to it. Save me. At this moment, Qi Xiong could not care about anything else. He shouted at the top of his lungs. The elders were the first to react. They all used their movement techniques and rushed over. In the blink of an eye, Ji and the other two were surrounded. As for the group of Qi family disciples, although they didn't know what was going on, they also went up to surround him. You don't really think that you can stop me like this, do you? Ji still had a calm expression on his face. There was even a hint of a playful smile on his face. He never liked to kill innocent people. However, these people insisted on courting death. There was nothing he could do about it. Shut up, you little thief. How dare you speak rudely to the patriarch? I'll teach you a lesson. However, those elders did not realize the seriousness of the matter and were still clamoring. Qi Xiong took advantage of this opportunity to run away. He was the only one who knew how terrifying Ji Yu was. He could not stay here for a moment longer. He did not have time to warn those elders. Moreover, to Qi Xiong, his own life was the most important thing. The life and death of these people did not matter to him. Ji Yu stretched his body a little. Xiao Ji Yu, help me protect Qi Ling. As soon as he finished speaking, Ji Yu disappeared. Ding. Host has performed Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless Lightning Flash has gained 999 times experience. Meanwhile, Qi Xiong was about to escape from the Qi residence by using his movement technique. He could almost see hope. Suddenly, a voice that sounded like the whisper of a devil dashed his hopes. Why are you running? Qi Xiong turned around abruptly and found that Ji Yu had already appeared behind him. He completely did not dare to believe that Ji Yu's speed was actually swift to this extent. He had already fled so far, but he was still caught up. I don't want your life. Why are you running? Ji Yu added. Let me go. Qi Xiong didn't listen at all. He ran for his life. In this world where the strong preyed on the weak, what was the difference between crippling his cultivation and killing him? Forget it, I won't play with you anymore. Ji Yu shook her head slightly. In a flash, he caught up with Qi Xiong again. Ding. Host has performed Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless Lightning Flash has gained 999 times experience. Ding. Host has performed Shattering the Mountains and Rivers Fist. Shattering the Mountains and Rivers Fist has gained 999 times experience. Ding. Congratulations, Host. Superior Mystic Grade Fist Technique. Shattering the Mountains and Rivers Fist has reached the peak of perfection state. Ding. Shattering the Mountains and Rivers Fist has reached the perfection state. Automatically upgraded to Inferior Earth Grade Fist Technique, Solitary Killing Fist Technique. The punch landed on Qi Xiong. Qi Xiong, who was caught off guard, had his dantian shattered. In an instant, his cultivation was completely crippled. Qi Xiong fell to the ground and gradually lost consciousness. You're on your own from now on. Ji Yu glanced coldly at Qi Xiong before disappearing again after leaving behind a few words. Ding. Host has performed Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless Lightning Flash has gained 999 times experience. In the next moment, he returned to Qi Ling and Xiao Gu's side. He found that several mystic enlightening realm elders were already screaming in pain on the ground. Clearly, these people who overestimated themselves had just been beaten up by Xiao Ji Yu. Ji Yu felt a little helpless. It could only be said that they had dug their own graves. I'll give you one more chance. At this moment, Ji Yu said, get lost or die. Make your choice. Chapter 423. Just a moment ago, the few Tongxian realm elders were trampled on like toys in the hands of the little girl. Such a terrifying sight. The other elders were scared out of their wits. As soon as they heard Ji Yu's words, they ran away faster than anyone else. They did not even care about their companions who were screaming on the ground. As for the disciples of the Qi family, they had yet to recover from their shock. It was not until 2 seconds later that they ran away in fear. All right, let's go. At this time, Ji Yu said to Xiao Ji Yu and Qi Ling. Okay, Qi Ling nodded. Then, the three of them left the Qi mansion. Along the way, Qi Ling did not show the worried look on her face. This was because she had completely cut off all feelings for the Qi family. Oh, right. At this moment, Ji Yu suddenly remembered something. He had almost forgotten about it. He had dealt with Qi Xiong, but there was still the young master of the Qi family. Ding. Host has used Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless Lightning Flash has gained 999 times of proficiency. He used his movement skill and grabbed a disciple of the Qi family who was hiding not far away. Don't kill me. The disciple of the Qi family begged for mercy. He was so scared that he almost wet himself. Where is the young master of the Qi family? Ji Yu said, tell me the truth, and I won't kill you. He. The young master is now cultivating in the Royal Academy of the Wan Shan Empire. The disciple of the Qi family answered in a panic. His forehead was covered in sweat. The Royal Academy of the Wan Shan Empire? Ji Yu let go of the disciple of the Qi family. After that, he asked a few more disciples of the Qi family, and they all gave the same answer. This confirmed that the young master of the Qi family was indeed in the Royal Academy of the Wan Shan Empire. Ji Yu told Qi Ling about this. Then, he asked, "Do you still want to look for him?" "No." Qi Ling shook her head. "Now that I'm no longer a member of the Qi family, he has nothing to do with me." "Okay." Ji Yu did not say anything. In the future, if he were to encounter the young master of the Qi family, he would take care of him. Speaking of which, since you're no longer part of the Qi family, what should I call you in the future? At this moment, Ji Yu asked, "Just call you Ling Ling blushed. "I'm glad you like it. Then I'll just call you Ling from now on." Ji Yu's expression was very calm. She didn't feel that anything was wrong. "Yes." Ling smiled cheerfully. "Also, do you think it's better for me to have the same surname as my master, or?" Ling asked shyly. She actually wanted to say, "It's better to have the same surname as you." But she couldn't say it out loud. If she has the same surname as Manor Head Murong, then Murong Ling Ji Yu thought for a moment and said, "Not bad." Then, "Don't you have any other ideas?" Ling hurriedly asked. She realized that Ji Yu did not understand what she meant at all, so she was a little anxious. "What ideas?" Ji Yu pondered for a moment and seemed to have guessed something. Then, she asked doubtfully, "Could it be, you want to have the same surname as me?" "You're the one who thought about it, not me," Ling deliberately explained. In fact, she was very happy that Ji Yu finally reacted. "Ji Ling Ji Yu thought for a moment and said, "Why do I feel that this name doesn't sound as good as Murong Ling "No." Ling hurriedly refuted. "Ji Ling sounds much better than Murong Ling "Alright, as long as you like it." Ji Yu didn't really care about Ling reaction. "Then I'll be called this name in the future. Don't call me by the wrong name." Ji Ling smiled cheerfully. "How could I call you by the wrong name? You're thinking too much," Ji Yu said casually. At this moment, they were about to walk out of the Qi manor when they ran into Qi Xiong. Qi Xiong was still lying there, and the entire Qi manor was in a state of panic. No one even came to care about the manor head. "I only destroyed his cultivation and spared his life for the time being," Ji Yu said. Ji Ling silently looked at Qi Xiong, who was lying on the ground. There was no pity in her eyes. Out of personal principle, she didn't want to kill this scum. But this was only her bottom line. Apart from killing this scum, no matter how Ji Yu treated this scum, she wouldn't mind. Chapter 424. Ji Yu and the other two returned the way they came. Many days passed. Now, they had arrived at the Kanglan Empire. In the past few days, Ji Yu had been cultivating the amethyst pupil on the spirit ship. Ding. Host has read the amethyst pupil cultivation manual for 1 minute. Amethyst pupil has gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ding. Host has read the amethyst pupil cultivation manual for 1 minute. Amethyst pupil has gained experience. 1 by 999 times. In the end, Ji Yu's amethyst pupil had broken through 2 stages in a row and was now at the 2nd stage. Once they got off the spirit ship, Ji Yu used her movement technique and brought Ji Ling and Xiao Ji Yu to the Chenyuan martial house. Ding. Host has used Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless Lightning Flash has gained experience. 999 times proficiency. Ding. Host has used Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless Lightning Flash has gained experience. 999 times proficiency. Ding. Congratulations, host. The superior Earth rank movement technique Shadowless Lightning Flash has successfully broken through to the mastery level. Inside the Violet Gold Hall. At this moment, Ji Yu, Xiao Ji Yu, Ji Ling and Murong Zili were in the hall. Xiao Ji Yu was playing with Ji Ling and Ji Yu and Murong Zili, on the surface, were drinking tea, but in fact, they were talking. "Has the matter been completed?" Murongzili asked Jiyu through spiritual communication. It was quite smooth. Jiyu replied. Is Linga all right? Murongzili asked with concern. She's fine. She has already left the Qi family and is no longer surnamed Qi. Jiyu said. Then what's her surname? Murongzili asked. Her surname is Ji. Jiyu replied without the slightest hesitation. Oh. Murongzili's tone slightly fluctuated, as if she understood something. By the way, Martial Housemaster, I'm a little curious about something. At this time, Jiyu said again. What's the matter? Murongzili said. You were already at LV9 Tongxian stage 5 years ago. Jiyu did not beat around the bush and asked directly. Why are you suddenly asking this? Murongzili raised her eyebrows and asked. I was thinking that with the master of the Qi family's character, if the Murong family's master did not have more power than him 5 years ago, he would definitely not have let Linga go so easily. Jiyu voiced her thoughts. That's why I guessed that Manor Head Murong had already attained the 9th level of Tongxian realm 5 years ago. It was also because of my curiosity that Manor Head Murong asked me to ask you directly. Murongzili was silent for a moment, then said, That's right. 5 years ago, this mansion master indeed had a cultivation above the 9th level of the profound comprehension realm. To be precise, my cultivation has not changed at all in the past 5 years. After hearing Murongzili's words, Jiyu couldn't help but be alarmed. His cultivation hadn't changed at all in the past 5 years. What was going on? Moreover, with his current amethyst pupils, he could see through Murongzili's true cultivation. LV9 Tongxian stage perfection. This also meant that Murongzili had already attained the 9th level of Tongxian stage perfection 5 years ago. According to what Murongzili had mentioned before, she was not much older than Jiyu. Based on his appearance alone, he should be around 20 years old. 5 years ago, she was around 15 or 16 years old. In other words, Murongzili had attained the 9th level of Tongxian stage perfection when she was 15 or 16 years old. This kind of talent was simply terrifying. However, what shocked Jiyu even more was that, she clearly had such shocking talent, so why hadn't she made a single step in the past 5 years? There was definitely something going on in this. Are you still curious about anything? Murongzili suddenly asked. Yes. Jiyu took the opportunity to ask, why did Mansion Master become like this? There's no need for you to ask. Murongzili said, after all, even if you know, it's meaningless. If I don't say it, how can Mansion Master be sure that it's meaningless? Jiyu asked back. Murongzili silently looked at Jiyu for a while. Perhaps I will tell you in the future, but at least now is not the time. All right. Jiyu could only leave it at that. After that, Jiyu chatted with Murongzili for a while before preparing to return to the Azure Water Branch Hall with Xiao Jiyu. At the entrance of the Chenyuan Martial House, Jiyu reluctantly asked, Jiyu, can't you stay for a few more days? I've already left for so many days, I have to hurry back. Jiyu shook her head. All right, Jilinga could only agree. After watching Jiyu leave with Xiao Jiyu, she entered the Chenyuan Martial House as well. In a deserted place, Xiao Jiyu spread its wings and flew back to the Azure Water Branch Hall with Jiyu. Chapter 425. After leaving for so many days, there were no changes to the Kanglan Branch Hall. This made Jiyu feel relieved. Previously, he was worried that those fellows would act on their own accord while he was gone for so long. In the following days, Jiyu did the same thing day after day. Every day, he would first deal with his affairs and then cultivate. However, after cultivating for so long, he was still very close to the spirit profound realm and could not break through. He did not know if it was because he lacked an opportunity or some other reason. Jiyu suddenly felt worried. Would he be like Manor Head Murong, stuck at the peak of the 9th level of the Tongxian realm for 5 years without breaking through? Right at this moment, someone suddenly barged into the main hall. Jiyu used his soul power to sense and found that it was the Vice Hall Master, Wen Yunyang. Ding. Host has activated his soul power. Soul power obtained experience, 1 by 999 times, Soon, when Yunyang appeared in front of Ji. Lord Hall Master, there is an important matter. What is it? The Kanglan Empire's royal family is about to change the throne. The Duke of Kanglan, Zhuang Tianqiu, has invited Lord Hall Master over. Changing the throne? That's so fast. Ji could not help but feel a little surprised. He saw that the Duke of Kanglan was still in his middle age. Logically speaking, he should not have abdicated so early. Actually, Lord Hall Master does not know. When Yunyang's tone gradually became serious, every Duke of Kanglan only has 10 years of life from the moment he succeeds the throne. Zhuang Tianqiu has been in office for almost 10 years. In other words, in less than half a month, Zhuang Tianqiu will pass away. The Kanglan Empire's royal family will have to decide on the next Duke of Kanglan. After hearing Wen Yunyang's words, Ji could not help but be startled. He really did not expect that the Kanglan Empire's royal family would have such a secret. Why is that? Ji immediately asked. He definitely did not believe that there was nothing fishy about this. This has to be traced back to a few hundred years ago. At that time, there was a House of Storms king. Although he was a spirit-profound realm expert, his time was almost up. When Yunyang said he wanted to pursue immortality, but unexpectedly, he suffered from qigong deviation and went astray, becoming a person of the evil path. In the end, he still died, but he managed to preserve his soul using a secret technique of the evil path. His soul has always been hidden under the royal palace, using the succession of the throne to absorb the lifespan of every succeeding king of House of Storms. In fact, there have always been a few people in the Kanglan royal family who know the truth, but they are helpless. The succession of the throne must be carried out. The tragedy of every Duke of Kanglan is unavoidable. Our branch has always been disliked in the Kanglan Empire, but the royal family has never had any conflicts with us in order to seek help from us. Hearing this, Ji more or less understood. So the Duke of Kanglan from a few hundred years ago wanted to use the lifespan of his descendants to revive him? Ji asked. That's right. When Yunyang nodded, and it is said that that guy has already absorbed most of it. During the succession of the throne, he will appear after absorbing the lifespan of the new Duke of Kanglan. It is very likely that he will possess the new Duke of Kanglan's body. Then, do the candidates for the throne know? Ji asked again. Apart from a few people in the Kanglan royal family, only the past palace masters and vice palace masters know the truth. When Yunyang replied, I see, Ji fell into a short period of contemplation. After a moment of contemplation, he continued, this time, the Duke of Kanglan specially invited me over. There should be other intentions, right? Yes, it is obvious that Zhuang Tianqiu wants our Kanglan branch to help. When Yunyang said, however, he still doesn't know that you have become the new palace master. This time, the other two vice palace masters and I will go with you. I have already discussed this with Yang Ming and Yang Jie earlier. Our opinions are the same. That is, when the situation becomes uncontrollable, we will immediately leave the palace. Palace Master, what is your opinion? After hearing this, Ji thought for a moment. Then he said, I have no opinion. If we can help, then we will. If we can't, then forget it. In fact, he didn't care what the entire Kanglan royal family would become. But the only thing he was worried about was that guy, Zhuang Weiran. Chapter 426. When exactly will the succession of the throne begin? At this time, Ji continued to ask. 3 days later, at the palace. When Yunyang said. 3 days later, Ji said indifferently, at that time, with her around, everything will be easy to solve. Ha! Hearing Ji's words, when Yunyang couldn't help but be puzzled. Only then did he realize that the little girl from the Calamity Bone Dragon was also present. That's right, Xiao Jiyu had been sitting on Jiyu's lap the entire time. However, because her figure was too petite, when Yunyang had never noticed it. Furthermore, when Yunyang's strength was too weak, so he couldn't sense Xiao Gu's aura at all. In addition, Xiao Jiyu had been quietly eating candy, as if everything had nothing to do with her. So that's how it is. When Yunyang couldn't help but smile bitterly, With this person around, everything will indeed be easy to solve. This was a 5th-grade demonic beast, the Calamity Bone Dragon. Even if the Azure Water royal family's ancestor was a spirit profound realm expert, he was not worth mentioning in front of a 5th-grade demonic beast. He had almost forgotten that there was such a terrifying existence by the palace master's side. "You can leave now," Ji said. "Yes." After that, only Ji and Xiao Ji were left in the hall. "If anything happens, I'll have to trouble you." At this time, Ji said to Xiao Ji, "As long as you give this seat candy, anything can be discussed." Xiao Ji said with a serious expression. Ji smiled, "You only know how to eat candy." Next, Ji planned to quickly finish the rest of the day's affairs. Ding. Host has reviewed for a minute. Silver level memory has obtained experience points. 1 by 999 times. Ding. Host has reviewed for a minute. Silver level memory has obtained experience points. 1 by 999 times. As there were more affairs today than usual. By the time Ji finished dealing with all the affairs, it was already afternoon. He did not return to his residence first. Instead, he went to Mu Zun's wooden house. Ever since he became the new palace master of the Azure Water Palace, he had never seen Mu Zun again. He wondered how Mu Zun was doing. Could it be that he had already left the Azure Water Branch Hall? Out of curiosity, he wanted to take a look. They arrived at the small house. Ji was right. There was no one inside. However, he found a piece of paper left on the table. The handwriting on the paper was a little messy, but there was a special charm to it. Ji found out that Mu Zun had indeed left the Azure Water Branch Hall a long time ago. They had even left the Kanglan Empire. Other than that, there was no other information. Ji's gaze fell on the last paragraph. "Until we meet again." Until we meet again, Ji also said in her heart. If there was a chance in the future, he would also leave the Kanglan Empire and head to a wider world. Unlike the last time, he had rushed to the Wanshan Empire and rushed back. In the entire mysterious heavenly mainland, the Kanglan Empire was just a tiny corner of the entire continent. If he continued to stay in the Kanglan Empire, his martial arts would be greatly limited. "Let's go." Thinking of this, Ji held Xiao Gu's hand and left the small house in the forest. Soon, Ji and Xiao Ji returned to their own room. Ji did not plan to cultivate mystical aura for the time being. He wanted to find Mana Head Murong tomorrow and have a good talk about cultivation. He did not want to be like Mana Head Murong and stay at the peak of the 9th tier of the Tongxian realm for 5 whole years. As for now, Ji was cultivating the Amethyst Pupil. Last time, his Amethyst Pupil had reached the 2nd stage of the Seeing Through Illusion realm. Currently, he could see that Xiao Gu's demonic power was at the 9th tier of the 5th grade. If he wanted more details, he could not see it. Perhaps he would only be able to see it when his Amethyst Pupil reached the 3rd stage of the Seeing Through Illusion realm. There was one more thing. Ji could sense that the current Xiao Ji was clearly much stronger than when they had first met. Roughly speaking, Xiao Ji had improved from the 7th tier of the 5th grade to the 9th tier of the 5th grade. One had to say that this kind of speed of improvement was truly terrifying. Furthermore, Xiao Ji did not need to do anything. She only needed to breathe to increase her demonic power. At this rate, it would not be long before Xiao Gu's demonic power broke through to the 6th tier. A 6th tier demonic beast, what kind of concept was this? Even Ji could not imagine. Chapter 427. Ding. Host has read the Purple Glazed Pupil Cultivation Manual for 1 minute. Purple Glazed Pupil has gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ding. Host has read the Purple Glazed Pupil Cultivation Manual for 1 minute. Purple Glazed Pupil has gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ji spent an entire afternoon and night, but unfortunately, she was unable to reach the 3rd stage of see-through reality. There was still a gap. She estimated that it would take at least half a day to a day. But on the 2nd day, Ji quickly finished the day's work and went to the Chenyuan martial house to find Master Murong. She felt that she needed to ask why Master Murong had been stuck at peak 9th stage Tongxian realm for 5 whole years. With Xiao Gu's help, she quickly arrived at the Chenyuan martial house. When she arrived at the Violet Gold Hall, only Murong Zili was there. Jiyu. Murong Zili was surprised that Jiyu would appear here. It had only been a few days, but she had returned. Martial Housemaster, I came to find you for something. Jiyu walked towards Murong Zili and said bluntly. What's the matter? Murong Zili asked. It's about the matter from last time. Why hasn't Martial Housemaster's cultivation changed for 5 whole years? I feel that I need to find out. Jiyu said with a serious face. Why did you suddenly ask this? Murong Zili felt that it was strange. Because I found that I might have encountered the same problem as Martial Housemaster. Jiyu said. Hearing this, Murong Zili's expression changed. How is that possible? Murong Zili couldn't help but lose her composure. Although it wasn't obvious, this was the first time Murong Zili had such a big emotional fluctuation. I don't know why, but I'm already very close to the spirit profound realm, but no matter how I cultivate, I can't break through. But Jiyu didn't notice Murong Zili's expression and kept talking. Hearing this, Murong Zili let out a sigh of relief in her heart. This Martial Housemaster has a question. At this time, Murong Zili spoke. Are you clear on what the true method to break through to the spirit profound realm is? Isn't it just cultivation? What else could it be? Jiyu said matter-of-factly. Then you're wrong. Murong Zili was a bit speechless. If you want to break through to the spirit profound realm, you need to gather your essence, energy, and spirit. The so-called essence, energy, and spirit are mental energy, profound energy, and soul energy. Only when all 3 are gathered can one break through to the spirit profound realm. Otherwise, even if you cultivate until the end of time, you will never be able to break through. Then, I have another question. Have you never read any books about this before? Although there are very few people in the Kanglan Empire who can come into contact with this, you really shouldn't have. She really did not expect that a genius like Jiyu would not even know the true method to break through to the spirit profound realm. She almost mistakenly thought that Jiyu was the same as her. I really don't have one. Jiyu smiled awkwardly. If he had known earlier that the method was so simple, he would not have specially come to find Murong Zili previously, due to the existence of the system. Jiyu felt that cultivating martial arts was especially simple. If he wanted to break through to the spirit profound realm or even higher realms, it was at most a matter of time. Moreover, he did not like to read books. So, he never paid attention to those books about martial arts. Thus, he became like this. However, this also raised another doubt in Jiyu's heart. Since Murong Mana Master clearly knew this method, then why did he stagnate at the peak of the 9th level of the spirit profound realm for 5 years? You better study more in the future. Such a basic thing, you cannot not know. Murong Zili advised. Amen, I understand. Jiyu nodded. Then, Jiyu continued, but I'm still curious. Since Mana Master knows this, why did he stagnate at the peak of the 9th level of the spirit profound realm for so many years? Murong Zili looked deeply at Jiyu. After a while, she slowly opened her mouth and said, if you really want to know, then come find me the day after tomorrow. At that time, you will understand. The day after tomorrow? Jiyu thought for a moment. Wasn't this the same day as the change of throne for the Kanglan Empire's royal family? Chapter 428. Jiyu suddenly remembered that he didn't notice it before. The day after tomorrow was a lunar eclipse. But the lunar eclipse night didn't seem to have any special meaning. Jiyu didn't bother about this anymore. He would know when the time came. After learning the method to break through to the spirit profound realm, Jiyu immediately returned to the Azure Water Hall and impatiently began to break through. Ding. Host has cultivated profound chi for 1 minute. Martial cultivation gained experience, 500 by 999 times. Ding. Host has activated spirit power. Silver level spirit power gained experience, 1 by 999 times. Ding. Host has activated spirit power. Soul strength gained experience, 1 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations host, martial cultivation has successfully broken through to the early first level of the Spirit Profound Realm. According to Murong Zili's method, Jiyu tried to activate Profound Qi, Spirit Power, and Spirit Power at the same time. Very quickly, his cultivation broke through. In that instant, Jiyu felt the convergence of essence, Qi, and Spirit. Under the stimulation of the Spirit Profound Realm cultivation, his Spirit Power and Spirit Power received a huge boost. Ding. Host has successfully broken through to the Spirit Profound Realm. Spirit Power increase effect increased by 999 times. Ding. Host has successfully broken through to the Spirit Profound Realm. Spirit Power increase effect increased by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations host, Silver level Spirit Power has successfully broken through to the large success realm. Ding. Congratulations host, Silver level Spirit Power has successfully broken through to the Great Perfection realm. Ding. Detected that Silver level Spirit Power has reached the Great Perfection realm. Automatically upgraded to Gold level Spirit Power. Immediately, his Spirit Power advanced to the Gold level. In addition to feeling his Spirit Power greatly increase, a small golden sword appeared in front of Jiyu. This is. Jiyu looked at the small golden sword in surprise. If he didn't remember wrongly, once one's Spirit Power reached the Gold level, it would indeed materialize. As for what kind of substance it was based on one's consciousness. In other words, Jiyu's Spirit Power subconsciously formed this small golden sword. Jiyu tried to reach out and touch it, but she found that she couldn't touch the golden sword at all. He was able to control the small golden sword with his mind. Under normal circumstances, this thing should be very powerful. Jiyu thought to herself. It was probably a mental attack. He couldn't be sure yet. He could only wait for an opportunity to test it on an enemy in the future. If it was really a mental attack, then it would be a great weapon. Is this a breakthrough in your cultivation? At this moment, Xiao Jiyu, who was sitting at the side and eating candy, casually said, "Yes." Jiyu nodded. However, he suddenly realized something. He had just broken through to the Spirit Profound Realm, and there didn't seem to be any movement. This was a little strange. If it was in the past, when a Tongxian realm cultivator had a breakthrough, if he didn't circulate the Heaven Splitter technique to suppress it, the aura would shake the entire Azure Water Branch Hall. In the end, this breakthrough to the Spirit Profound Realm did not cause any commotion. Jiyu didn't know that his breakthrough had actually caused a huge commotion. He didn't feel it himself, but almost all the Tongxian realm cultivators in the Kanglan Empire felt it. At the same time, in the Azure Water Palace, Zhuang Tianqiu, who was resting with his eyes closed, suddenly felt his mind tremble. He suddenly opened his eyes and looked in a certain direction. This was the direction of the Azure Water Branch Hall. Could it be that the Azure Water Branch Hall Master had broken through to the Spirit Profound Realm? Zhuang Tianqiu was shocked, then a trace of joy emerged in his heart. The Azure Water Branch Hall Master had just broken through to the Spirit Profound Realm at this time. Could it be that there was hope the day after tomorrow? Chapter 429. However, Zhuang Tianqiu did not know that the person who broke through to the Spirit Profound Realm was Jiyu. Not only Zhuang Tianqiu, but all the experts in the Kanglan Empire who had reached the Tongxian realm and above felt it. Kanglan Empire Academy. At this time, Jiao Huan was recuperating. Last time, when he was swept by the bone dragon's tail, many bones in his body were broken. Although he had more or less recovered now, it would take a few more days for him to fully recover. In the next moment, Jiao Huan suddenly turned pale with fright. He could not help but stand up and look in a certain direction with a heavy gaze. Azure Water Palace Hall. Another Spirit Profound Realm expert has appeared. Jiao Huan muttered to himself as his expression gradually turned ugly. After what happened last time, it was difficult for their Kanglan Empire Academy to maintain a relationship with the Azure Water Palace Hall. Now, a Spirit Profound Realm expert appeared in the Azure Water Palace Hall. If there was no accident, It should be that palace master level figure. Gao Huan had not come into contact with that figure yet. This was what he was most worried about. If it was a hot-tempered palace master who was unhappy and came looking for trouble with the Kanglan Empire Academy, that would be terrible. Gao Huan considered for a while. For the sake of the Kanglan Empire Academy, he decided to think of ways to curry favor with the Azure Water Palace Hall. Qianyuan Martial House. Murongzili, whose cultivation had reached the peak of the 9th level of the Tongxian realm, naturally felt it. She almost instantly understood that this was Jiyu breaking through to the spirit profound realm. Murongzili's mouth immediately curved into a satisfied smile. She did not misjudge her. But the most shocked were the Azure Water Palace Hall's vice palace masters and elders, as well as many Tongxian realm guardians. Their first reaction was to immediately see who caused the commotion. After discovering that it was the palace master, they dispelled this thought. After all, this was the palace master's residence, they did not dare to barge in. In a moment, many people gathered around Ji Yu's residence. Even when Yunyang, Yang Ming, and Yang Jie, the 3 vice palace masters, as well as all the elders rushed over. What happened just now? My spirit and soul received a huge impact. Could it be a breakthrough in cultivation? I've never felt that way before. Could it be that the palace master has entered the spirit profound realm? That's impossible, right? Didn't palace master just break through to the 9th level of the Tongxian realm not long ago? How could he enter the spirit profound realm so quickly? I also feel that it's not very possible. In order to break through to the spirit profound realm, one's mental energy must be at least at the silver rank. The protectors were all making guesses. However, when Yunyang's words put an end to their guesses. The palace master has indeed broken through to the spirit profound realm. As soon as he said this, everyone was dumbfounded. Especially Yang Ming and Yang Jie, they found it hard to believe that this was true. Previously, during the battle, Jiyu was only at the early stage of Tongxian realm. There was no way they would be mistaken. How long had it been, and he had already reached the spirit profound realm? This time, they were completely convinced. Now that Jiyu had already become a spirit profound realm expert, unless they didn't want to live anymore. However, at this time, Jiyu was still playing with the small golden sword in her room. Other than her mental energy, her soul energy had also improved greatly. However, her soul energy did not have any substantial changes. It was also not divided into bronze rank, silver rank, and gold rank like her mental energy. It could only be said that she was much stronger than before. Only then did Jiyu realize that there seemed to be many people outside. She was a little curious and opened the door to take a look. She saw the vice palace masters, elders, and a group of protectors all gathered outside, and their expressions were very rich. Could it be that these people found out that I had a breakthrough in cultivation? Jiyu was puzzled. Chapter 430. A group of people stared blankly at Jiyu without saying a word. What are you doing? Jiyu asked. Hallmaster, did you really break through to the spirit profound realm? At this time, when Yunyang spoke. It's true. Is there a problem? Jiyu said. No. When Yunyang hurriedly said. Now that the hall master had personally admitted it, everyone had nothing to say. At this time, when Yunyang's heart was filled with emotions. With Jiyu as the new hall master, their Azure Water Branch Hall's status and reputation in the southern region would soon change. As for the other Tongxian realm experts in the Kanglan Empire who felt the commotion, they only knew that a spirit profound realm expert had finally appeared in the Kanglan Empire. They did not know that the commotion came from the direction of the Azure Water Branch Hall. After all, they did not know where the Azure Water Branch Hall was. This made it even more impossible for them to know that the commotion came from Jiyu. Even so, it still caused a huge commotion. After all, it had been a long time since a spirit profound realm expert had appeared in the Kanglan Empire. Azure Water Duke Shuang Tianqiu, Qianyuan Martial House Master Murongzili, Kanglan Empire Academy Principal Gao Huan, Qing Xian sect master? They were all madly guessing who this expert was. The only thing they did not expect was that this person was actually Ji Yu. At this time, Ji Yu was slowly feeling the changes brought about by breaking through to the spirit profound realm. Other than the great increase in spirit, energy, and spirit, there was also some improvement in the physical body. Next, Ji Yu deliberately flipped through many books related to martial arts. Because he had almost no understanding of the spirit profound realm, especially the cultivation realms above the spirit profound realm. He did not even know what realms were above the spirit profound realm. After being reminded by Murong Zili last time, he felt that it was necessary to properly understand these things. Ding. Host has flipped through books for 1 minute, silver level memory gained experience, 1 by 999 times. Ding. The host has flipped through the book for 1 minute. Silver level memory experience gained, 1 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations to the host, the silver level memory has successfully broken through to greater mastery. After spending an entire night, Ji Yu finished reading a lot of books on martial arts. She also made a breakthrough in her silver level memory. He now had a detailed understanding of the spirit profound realm. Now that he had reached the spirit profound realm, he didn't just need to cultivate profound qi to break through. There was also a requirement for spiritual power and soul power. However, with the strength of Ji Yu's current mental strength and soul force, even if she didn't continue to increase her mental strength and soul force, she would still be able to break through to the 9th level of the spirit profound realm just by relying on her profound qi. After all, his gold rank spiritual power and his soul power that was far stronger than an ordinary person's couldn't be described with common sense. After that, it was about the cultivation realms above the spirit profound realm. Above the spirit profound realm, there were 3 more realms of cultivation: the human profound realm, the earth profound realm, and the sky profound realm. According to the books, the human profound realm was the gradual refinement of the original profound qi in the body into a purer and stronger profound qi. The primary aura formed by the profound qi was many times stronger than the original profound qi aura, no matter if it was in terms of lethality or defense. As for the earth profound realm and the sky profound realm, almost all of the books only mentioned them briefly. They only knew that these 2 realms existed. Ji Yu was sure that above the sky profound realm, there were definitely higher realms. However, just by relying on the Kanglan Branch Hall's information, she didn't know that there were higher realms. Only when she walked out of the Kanglan Empire and onto the big stage of the entire southern region, Ji Yu's horizons would be broadened and she would know more things. At this moment, Ji Yu already had an idea. Wait until the succession of the throne and the matter with Manor Master Murong was over. Also, her own duties would be settled. When the time came, she would find an opportunity to come into contact with the big stage of the southern region. She definitely wasn't willing to be a frog at the bottom of a well. Chapter 431. On the 2nd day. In other words, the throne change would begin tomorrow. They had to prepare to leave today. Ji Yu finished her work in the morning and left in the afternoon. However, they were riding Wen Yunyang's black-feathered demonic eagle. After all, Ji Yu could not let Xiao Jiyu be someone else's flying tool. Besides, Wen Yunyang, Yang Ming, and Yang Jie did not have the guts to do so. At this time, Ji Yu, Xiao Jiyu, Wen Yunyang, Yang Ming, and Yang Jie, a total of 5 people, prepared to leave for the royal palace. When Xiao Jiyu stood on the black-feathered demonic eagle, the demonic eagle's entire body kept trembling. As one of the best third-rank demonic beasts, and one that had been tamed by Wen Yunyang, the black-feathered demonic eagle already had some intelligence. As a demonic beast, it instantly felt the aura of the calamity skeletal dragon. Not only was it suppressed by the dragon's might, but it was also suppressed by demonic power. The black-feathered demonic eagle did not dare to move at all. Only when Wen Yunyang gave the order and it confirmed that the calamity skeletal dragon had no intention of attacking did it slowly rise into the air. About 3 hours passed. It was already evening, and they had just arrived at the royal palace. This clearly showed the difference in speed between the black-feathered demonic eagle and Xiao Jiyu. If it was Xiao Jiyu who brought Jiyu from the Azure Water Branch Hall to the royal palace, it would only take around 10 minutes at most. Moreover, Jiyu had never seen Xiao Jiyu get serious. After all, there was no one in the entire Kanglan Empire that could make Xiao Jiyu get serious. She did not know how terrifying Xiao Jiyu could be when it got serious. Looking down from the sky, one could see that the royal palace was bustling with people, as if they were all preparing for the throne change tomorrow. Normal people would not be able to see the things below from such a high position, but Jiyu was different. His amethyst pupil had reached the third realm, see-through reality. It was very easy for him to look down from such a high altitude. At this time, the black-feathered demonic eagle was descending. The people below were very busy and almost did not notice a black shadow descending from the sky. It was not until the black-feathered demonic eagle's descent caused a huge commotion that they were alarmed. It immediately caused a panic. Only when a Tongxian realm expert of the rank of a general appeared did these people return to their positions. This general's name was Zhuang Zhenan. The Duke of Navy Waves had informed him beforehand, so he knew the origin of the person on top of the demonic beast. Distinguished guests, please come in. Zhuang Zhenan naturally had to find a place for the 5 of them to stay. Furthermore, he had heard that a spirit profound realm expert had appeared in the Azure Water Branch Hall yesterday. He was very curious as to which of the 5 was it. First of all, he eliminated the young man and the little girl. After all, he couldn't see how high their cultivation levels were. He did not know what the Azure Water Branch Hall was thinking. For such an important matter, they actually brought 2 children along. Then, Zhuang Zhenan's gaze fell on Wen Yunyang, Yang Ming, and Yang Jie. He felt that all 3 of them could possibly be newly advanced spirit profound realm experts. In particular, the one who could control the black-feathered demonic eagle was the most likely. With this, Zhuang Zhenan tacitly agreed that Wen Yunyang was a spirit profound realm expert. "General, you're too polite," Wen Yunyang said with an amiable smile. However, just as Zhuang Zhenan was preparing to find a place for the 5 of them to stay, a familiar voice sounded. "Jiyu, why are you here?" He saw Zhuang Weiran walking towards them, looking at Jiyu with a face full of surprise. "Jiyu." When Zhuang Zhenan heard this name, he immediately felt extremely shocked. This young man from the Azure Water Branch Hall was actually that Jiyu? No wonder he felt that this young man was a little familiar. Zhuang Zhenan was able to understand. For a peerless genius like Jiyu to be brought along by the higher-ups of the Azure Water Branch Hall was considered normal. However, even so, he did not feel that Jiyu was the new spirit profound realm expert. The throne change is such an important matter, why can't I be here? At this time, Jiyu smiled. The makeup in front of her eyes was not like her usual manly attire. Instead, she was wearing an elegant green palace dress. Suddenly, she became a devastatingly beautiful princess. Chapter 432. But who are these people? Zhuang Weiran looked at the people beside Jiyu. Especially the little girl. She cared about her the most. "I am the Deputy Hall Master of the Azure Water Branch Hall, Wen Yunyang. You must be the 6th princess," Wen Yunyang said respectfully. "That's me," Zhuang Weiran nodded slightly. Her gaze turned strange. "Deputy Palace Master of Kanglan?" "I am Deputy Palace Master of Kanglan, Yang Ming." "I am Deputy Palace Master of Kanglan, Yang Jie." At this time, Yang Ming and Yang Jie also said. Zhuang Weiran's expression was stiff. Her beautiful eyes were filled with shock. The 3 of them were Deputy Palace Masters of Kanglan, and Jiyu seemed to have come with them. Could it be that Jiyu had been controlled by Kanglan? Zhuang Weiran couldn't believe it. She couldn't help but grab Jiyu's hand. "Come with me." Xiao Jiyu didn't want to be separated from Jiyu, so she followed. "I heard that the 6th princess was interested in Jiyu. It seems like it's true." Zhuang Zhenan rubbed his chin as he watched Zhuang Weiran's actions. After all, they are all young people. Wen Yunyang laughed. They had a tacit understanding. They didn't intend to disturb Jiyu and Zhuang Weiran. After that, Zhuangzhen arranged a place for the three of them to stay. At the same time, on the other side, Ji Yu was being forcefully pulled away by Zhuang Weiran. "What are you doing?" Ji Yu couldn't help but ask. Zhuang Weiran stopped. She turned around and said solemnly, "Ji Yu, you might not know that you're being controlled. I'll bring you to father now. He'll have a way to deal with this." Hearing this, Ji Yu immediately smiled. "You're thinking too much. How can I be controlled? No matter what, I will bring you to father first." Zhuang Weiran felt that it would be too troublesome to explain. She wanted to bring Ji Yu to father first. "I think you must have misunderstood something," Ji Yu said as she was dragged away. However, Zhuang Weiran didn't say a word. She just pulled Ji Yu and walked quickly in a certain direction. "I am already the Azure Water Branch Hall Master, who else can control me?" At this time, a very calm voice sounded. Hearing those words, Zhuang Weiran's footsteps stopped. She was stunned for a while before she came back to her senses. "What did you say?" Zhuang Weiran stared blankly at Ji Yu, thinking that she had heard wrongly. "I said, I am already the Azure Water Branch Hall Master. Who else can control me?" Ji Yu repeated. "Hall Master." Zhuang Weiran's eyes were filled with disbelief. "Yes." Ji Yu acted as if she was talking about a trivial matter. She said calmly, "So you don't have to worry. I won't be controlled by others." Zhuang Weiran was still in disbelief. She really wanted to know what happened to Ji Yu while she was separated from Ji Yu. It hadn't been that long, but Ji Yu was already the Azure Water Branch Hall Master. However, Zhuang Weiran was indeed relieved. "I'm just worried about you, Tilda, at this time." Zhuang Weiran suddenly pouted. All right. Don't be so mushy." Ji Yu couldn't stand such mushy words. She had goosebumps all over her body. "No matter what, it's good that you are fine." Zhuang Weiran smiled. "Oh right." Zhuang Weiran suddenly thought of something. Her gaze turned to the little girl behind Ji Yu. "Who is this?" "She is called Xiao Ji Yu. She is considered my younger sister." Ji Yu introduced her briefly. "Didn't you attract her because you went to flirt with other girls?" Zhuang Weiran teased, "As expected of you. You can actually make a move on such a young girl. Don't you dare slander me." Ji Yu immediately retorted. "Also, don't think that she is really young." Ji Yu immediately added another sentence. If they were to really compare age, Xiao Ji Yu was at least 10 times older than Zhuang Weiran. "Did I say something wrong?" Zhuang Weiran's tone was full of meaning. "If you think so, then so be it." Ji Yu couldn't be bothered to say anything else and said casually, "I'm just kidding." Zhuang Weiran smiled. Ji Yu was speechless. Chapter 433. Xiao Ji Yu didn't care that Ji Yu and Zhuang Weiran were talking about her. She looked like she didn't care about anything at all and only focused on eating the candy. Zhuang Weiran already thought that Xiao Ji Yu was cute, and now she felt that Xiao Ji Yu was even cuter. "Come, little sister, let sister hug you." Zhuang Weiran couldn't help but want to hug Xiao Ji Yu. But Xiao Ji Yu reached out a hand and blocked Zhuang Weiran. "Human woman, don't touch me." Xiao Gu's tone was unfriendly. Zhuang Weiran was slightly stunned. "She's not a human. She's a demon beast that transformed into human form and doesn't like to interact with humans," Ji Yu explained. As he spoke, he stroked Xiao Gu's silver hair. "Then aren't you a human too?" Zhuang Weiran immediately said. "Then I'll say that she doesn't like to interact with strangers," Ji Yu added. Xiao Ji Yu didn't say anything. She obviously agreed. But to her, to be precise, other than Ji Yu, she didn't like to interact with humans. Alright, although Zhuang Weiran really wanted to hug Xiao Ji Yu, she could only give up for now. Also, Xiao Gu's true identity surprised her. She was actually a demon beast in human form. She had only read about it in an ancient book. Legend had it that there were demon beasts that could transform into human form. But that was just a legend. She didn't even know what kind of demon beast it was. This was the first time she saw a demon beast that could transform into human form. The throne change has just started. You guys can stay at my place tonight. Zhuang Weiran said. Sure. Ji Yu nodded. Then, Ji Yu and Xiao Jiyu followed Zhuang Weiran to her place. Zhuang Weiran wasn't a pretentious person about the Kanglan branch. Since Ji Yu said that it was fine, she didn't say anything else. Halfway through the journey, you should know some facts about the throne change tomorrow, right? Ji Yu suddenly said. What facts? Zhuang Weiran said with a face of confusion. Since you want to play dumb, let me tell you the truth about the succession of the throne. Ji Yu said calmly. In the past, he had noticed that Zhuang Weiran would occasionally reveal a slightly sad expression. Although it was hard to detect, his soul perception was very sharp. Especially today, even though Zhuang Weiran looked fine on the surface, she was in low spirits. This was the minute detail that Ji Yu had caught from Zhuang Weiran's expression and tone. If it had been anyone else, even a Tongxian realm cultivator, they might not have been able to notice it. There's no need. Zhuang Weiran knew that there was no need for her to hide anymore. I do know the truth. Whether it is my father's lifespan or that ancestor who is several hundred years old, I know everything. Zhuang Weiran's tone was mixed with complicated emotions. Ji Yu was silent for a moment, then said, Then who will inherit the throne tomorrow? I'm not sure. Zhuang Weiran slowly shook his head and said, Before my father decided on the next Duke of Kanglan, no one knew about this. I understand. Ji Yu nodded. He felt that with how much the Duke of Kanglan doted on Zhuang Weiran, he would not let Zhuang Weiran inherit the throne. After all, once she inherited the throne, she would only have 10 years of lifespan left. But there was no way to say for sure. They could only wait until tomorrow to know the result. Are you worried about me? Zhuang Weiran suddenly asked. Ji Yu subconsciously looked at Zhuang Weiran, only to see an interesting smile on his face. If you think so, then so be it. If you think so, then so be it. But Ji Yu's answer was very calm. Then I think so. Zhuang Weiran laughed. It seemed like a joke. But in reality, she felt very warm inside. His gloomy and sorrowful mood from before also eased a lot at this moment. Hearing Zhuang Weiran's words, Ji Yu did not say anything else. What he was thinking in his heart, perhaps only Xiao Jiyu, who was the subject of his soul contract, knew. No matter what, Ji Yu had to get rid of that ancestor. This kind of scourge would only cause endless trouble in the future. It could even threaten Jiang Yuchu and the others. Ding. Host has taken a step. Earth rank superior movement technique shadowless lightning flash gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ding. Host has taken a step. Earth rank superior movement technique shadowless lightning flash gained experience. 1 by 999 times. About 10 minutes later, Ji Yu and Xiao Jiyu followed Zhuang Weiran to the residence. Before this, he, Qi Ling Cheng Yeye, and Cheng Jiangjiang had also stayed at Zhuang Weiran's residence. Chapter 434. Ji Yu, you should stay in the same room as before. At this moment, Zhuang Weiran was arranging rooms for Ji Yu and Xiao Jiyu. Then, Xiao Jiyu will stay in the room opposite Ji Yu. Is that all right? No. Xiao Jiyu immediately rejected. I want to stay with Ji Yu. I don't want another room. This, Zhuang Weiran was in a difficult position. She looked at Ji Yu, as if asking for Ji Yu's opinion. Let's do as she says. Ji Yu said. All right, you two will stay in the same room. Before she could finish her sentence, Zhuang Weiran realized that something was wrong. Did you two stay in the same room before this? Zhuang Weiran asked. Yes. Xiao Jiyu answered casually. Jiyu didn't deny it. Zhuang Weiran's expression became strange. Jiyu, seriously, you can't be interested in such a small thing, she whispered into Jiyu's ear. What are you thinking about? Jiyu was speechless. She flicked Zhuang Weiran's forehead. It's good that it's not true. Zhuang Weiran chuckled. I almost thought that you had such a weird fetish. Don't think about such nonsense all day. I'm going back to my room to rest. With that, Jiyu walked into his room. Xiao Jiyu also immediately followed him in. When they were in the room, Xiao Jiyu suddenly asked, "What's the weird fetish that woman was talking about?" "I don't know," Jiyu's mouth twitched. "Even you don't know?" Xiao Jiyu didn't think so much. Since Jiyu said so, she didn't care about it anymore. The reason why she asked was because she was curious about the so-called strange fetish. After that, Jiyu started to cultivate the purple glazed eyes. He wanted to achieve the third stage of the purple glazed pupil, which was at the level of seeing through illusion and reality, by the end of the day. Ding. Host has read the Amethyst Pupil Cultivation Manual for 1 minute. Amethyst Pupil Experience gained, 1*999x. Ding. Host has read the Amethyst Pupil Cultivation Manual for 1 minute. Amethyst Pupil Experience gained, 1*999x. Late at night, Jiyu's amethyst pupil finally reached the third stage of the seeing through reality realm. Xiao Jiyu had long since fallen asleep. At this moment, he was already in a deep sleep. Jiyu also fell asleep. Tonight, Xiao Gu's sleeping posture was better. At the very least, he didn't torment Jiyu as frequently as usual. The next day. Today was the day of the change of throne. Jiyu and Xiao Jiyu followed Zhuang Weiran as they headed towards the location where the throne exchange would take place. It was not in some grand and luxurious palace, nor was it a very mysterious place. This was an ordinary square. Of course, this was only ordinary when compared to those incomparably luxurious palaces. The most special thing about this plaza was that it was extraordinarily large. At a glance, the entire plaza was filled with a sea of people, as if there was no end in sight. After all, the throne exchange was taking place today. It was such a grand day. Regardless of whether it was the slightly famous forces or the commoners of the palace, they would all gather at the palace. This kind of plaza, which could hold at least 10,000 people, was indeed the most suitable location for the throne exchange. Not long after, Jiyu met up with Wen Yunyang and the other 2 vice palace masters. This plaza was very clear. For example, Jiyu and the others were at the front of the plaza. He also saw the people from the Chenyuan Martial House, the Kanglan Empire Academy, and the Qingxian sect. They were all standing near him. Naturally, he also saw Master Murong, a few elders from the Martial House, and Jiao Huan's group. In the area behind Jiyu, judging from their attire and strength, it was obvious that they were all people of high status. As for the more ordinary civilians, they were at the back of the line. As for the people in the middle, they were preparing for the throne exchange. The Duke of Kanglan, Zhuang Tianqiu, General Zhuang Zhenan, 6th Princess Zhuang Weiran, and other members of the royal family as well as high-ranking people had all appeared. Chapter 435. At the same time, Murongzi Li, Jiao Huan, and the others naturally saw Jiyu. Murongzi Li directly walked towards Jiyu. Jiao Huan, on the other hand, glared fiercely at Jiyu. He really wanted to find Jiyu for revenge. But Jiyu still had 3 Azure Water Branch Hall Deputy Hall Masters. Moreover, this was still the royal family's territory, so he didn't dare to rashly make a move. At this time, Jiao Huan suddenly realized. The 3 Deputy Hall Masters appeared, but why didn't he see the Azure Water Branch Hall Master? He looked around. Including Jiyu, there were only 5 people there. Could it be that little girl was the Hall Master? Jiao Huan had never seen the Azure Water Branch Hall Master before. He only remembered that it was a girl. He also didn't know that the Azure Water Branch Hall Master had changed not long ago, nor did he know that it was Jiyu. So he mistakenly thought that the little girl was the Hall Master. But Jiao Huan still felt that it was strange. He couldn't detect the slightest bit of cultivation aura from this little girl. Perhaps the Azure Water Branch Hall Master was unfathomable. This could still be barely explained. Besides that, this little girl's appearance was also very special. Suddenly, Jiao Huan discovered that the other party turned around and coldly glanced at him. "Look again and this lord will gouge out your eyes." At the same time, there was a tender voice from the depths of his heart. Jiao Huan was immediately frightened. He quickly shifted his gaze. This time, He was even more certain that this little girl was the Azure Water Branch Hall Master. At this time, Murongzi Li had already arrived beside Ji. The two chatted for a while. At this time, everything was ready. Next, it was time for the Azure Water King, Zhuang Qianqiu, to announce the new king to the public. I really hope that the eldest prince can become the new Azure Water King. He is modest, low-key, and friendly to the people. This possibility is not high. It is obvious that the second prince and the fifth prince are more suitable to be king. I think the sixth prince is not bad. Speaking of which, where is the sixth prince? Who is that girl beside the Azure Water King? She is so beautiful. The people below the stage were all discussing who the new king would be. Even though Zhuang Weiran was no longer dressed as a man, they still didn't know that the sixth prince was actually a woman. After all, they couldn't recognize that this woman was Zhuang Weiran. However, just as Zhuang Qianqiu was about to announce the new king, a grey gas suddenly rose from the ground and appeared in the air. Then, a strange sound was heard. This king has finally seen the light of day again. This movement immediately alarmed everyone present, and they all looked at the grey gas in the air with a shocked expression. What happened? What was that? Even Zhuang Qianqiu was shocked. Patriarch! He cried out in alarm. His words were shocking, and the entire crowd was in an uproar. Ancestor? Are you talking about that cloud of grey gas? How is that possible? Even the previous Duke of Navy Tide had already. This is what the Duke of House of Storms said himself. It's probably true. At this moment, Zhuang Qiang's expression was both shocked and ugly. He knew that the ancestor would most likely appear today, but he didn't expect it to be so soon. He wasn't sure what would happen next, and he wasn't sure if he could still control the situation. At this moment, Ji looked up at that cloud of grey gas and couldn't help but frown slightly. Through the amethyst pupil, he could faintly see a sinister and strange face in that cloud of grey gas. Not bad, there are so many people. This king will be able to revive soon. That cloud of grey gas laughed strangely. Hearing this, Zhuang Qianqiu was stunned and felt that something was wrong. At this moment, a bloody light suddenly appeared on the ground. A bloody light illuminated the blood fiend array slowly appeared from the ground. Seeing this, Zhuang Qianqiu instantly understood the severity of the situation. Everyone, quickly escape from the palace, he shouted with all his might. At the same time, most of the people present didn't react and were still standing there in a daze. Only a small number of people were fleeing in a daze. Zhuang Qiang's expression was extremely ugly. Because this was the long-lost forbidden array of the royal family, the blood fiend array. The ancestor had absorbed the lifespan of every Duke of Navy Tide in order to activate this blood fiend array. The ancestor's method was more ruthless than what they had imagined. Once the blood fiend array was fully activated, apart from the Almighty of the Spirit Profound Realm, no one could escape. But, Almighty of the Spirit Profound Realm, there wasn't a single one present. Wait a minute. Zhuang Qianqiu suddenly remembered that 2 days ago, someone from the Navy Tide Hall broke through to the Spirit Profound Realm. He hurriedly looked towards the Navy Tide Hall's people and urgently wanted to know if that Almighty of the Spirit Profound Realm was present. Zhuang Qiang's time was almost up and his strength was no longer at his peak. If he was at his peak, he could still barely contend with the ancestor. But now, he was simply not his opponent. He could only hope that the Almighty of the Navy Tide Hall would be willing to help. Chapter 436. Zhuang Qianqiu looked over with hope. However, he discovered that there were only 3 vice palace masters, Ji, and a little girl present. That Spirit Profound Realm expert was not present. His hope was instantly extinguished. Zhuang Qianqiu felt despair. He did not have much time left. After all, he did not have much time left to live. However, he did not want to see so many innocent people being slaughtered by the great blood fiend array. On the other side, Ji saw the bloodlight array appear on the ground. A system notification sounded in her mind. Ding! Host has taken a look at the 6th rank array Great Blood Fiend array, triggering 999 times comprehension ability. Ding! Congratulations host, You have successfully comprehended the 6th rank array Great Blood Fiend array. Ji Yu instantly comprehended a lot of information related to the Great Blood Fiend array. This Great Blood Fiend array was a long-lost taboo array of the Kanglan Empire's royal family. It could devour a person's flesh. That mass of grey gas was the so-called ancestor. Activating this Great Blood Fiend array was obviously to use the flesh of the people present to reforge the body. Not only that, Ji Yu also knew the method to break the Great Blood Fiend array. The method was very simple. That was to use one's spiritual perception to find the eye of the array. Then, one would use one's spiritual power to cut off the connection between the array and the caster, which was the ancestor. However, this required one to be at the spirit profound realm and have a high level of spiritual power. Otherwise, if a cultivator did not meet this requirement, it would be useless even if they knew the method to break the array. Ding. Host has activated spiritual power. Spiritual soul power obtained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ding. Host has successfully broken the 6th rank array Great Blood Fiend array. Array attainment obtained 999 times experience. Ding. Congratulations host, array attainment has successfully broken through to superior 3rd rank array master. Ding. Congratulations host, array attainment has successfully broken through to inferior 4th rank array master. Breaking a 6th rank array directly caused Ji Yu to soar to 4th rank array master. At this moment, the Great Blood Fiend array that was about to take shape suddenly disappeared. Zhuang Tianqiu was stunned. Why did it disappear again? The patriarch in the grey gas couldn't help but exclaim, "What's going on?" He had just felt that something had suddenly cut off his connection with the Blood Fiend array. In the blink of an eye, the Blood Fiend Grand array disappeared. However, he soon found it. It was the black-clothed youth in the crowd who had done it. "Brat, although I don't know how you did it, since you ruined this king's plan, this king will make you pay the price." With that, the ancestor rushed toward Ji Yu. Ji Yu, be careful. Zhuang Tianqiu and Zhuang Weiran were both shocked. Only Murong Zili's expression didn't change. Because she knew that Ji Yu was already at the spirit profound realm. "You want to possess me?" Ji Yu immediately saw through the other party's intentions. This was exactly what he wanted. The corners of Ji Yu's lips curled up. He stood there motionlessly, allowing the grey gas to enter his body. "No!" Zhuang Weiran screamed at the top of her lungs. She looked on helplessly as Ji Yu was attacked, but she couldn't do anything. At this moment, it was as if something in her heart had fallen, and she felt heartache. However, Ji Yu's expression didn't change at all. Ding. Host's soul has been invaded, soul power gained experience. 1 by 999 times. Ding. Host's soul has been invaded, soul power gained experience. 1 by 999 times. After 3 seconds, the ancestor's soul was completely destroyed by Ji Yu's soul power. At this moment, a scream of panic and despair came from Ji Yu's body. It sounded extremely miserable. The ancestor's soul must have encountered something extremely terrifying in Ji Yu's soul. Hearing this scream, Zhuang Tianqiu, who was originally in pain, was at a loss. What's going on? What happened? Zhuang Tianqiu couldn't react in time. Zhuang Weiran was also stunned, not even noticing that tears were flowing out of the corners of her eyes. "This old fart is gone, you can continue with the throne exchange." At this moment, Ji Yu said. Chapter 437. Just as Zhuang Tianqiu was in shock, he suddenly felt his cultivation realm loosen up. In the next moment, he broke through to the spirit profound realm. And it did not stop at all. Mid first level, late first level, peak first level, until the peak first level of spirit profound realm. Only then did it gradually stop. Feeling all of this, Zhuang Tianqi's face was filled with disbelief. How did he suddenly break through so many realms? Not only that, Zhuang Tianqiu also felt that his lifespan had increased by hundreds of years. This is just that after the old man's soul completely disappeared, he returned the cultivation and lifespan that was originally taken from you. Seeing Zhuang Tianqi's expression, Ji Yu explained. "So it's like that. Zhuang Tianqiu was extremely shocked. The old ancestor was actually killed. And it was killed by Ji. Lord Palace Master, are you all right? At this moment, when Yun Yang, Yang Ming and Yang Jie hurried over. Earlier, Palace Master Ji told them to leave first and not worry about this place. And now that Palace Master Ji was already a spirit profound realm expert, there was no need for them to worry. They naturally obeyed. Just as they realized that the commotion had stopped, they rushed back. I'm fine. Ji replied. Lord Palace Master? Hearing this title, Zhuang Tianqiu instantly understood something. The Lord of the Kanglan Branch Hall was actually Ji. Zhuang Tianqiu was in disbelief. At the same time, he suddenly thought of something. Could it be that the almighty expert that broke through to the spirit profound realm the day before was Ji? Zhuang Tianqiu vaguely remembered that Ji was not yet 18 years old. At such a young age, she was already a spirit profound realm expert. In comparison, his title as the #1 expert of the Kanglan Empire was simply a joke. Zhuang Tianqiu laughed at himself and shook his head. At this moment, Ji discovered that the old ancestor's soul still had a lot of energy left. This energy, other than Zhuang Tianqiu, was the lifespan and cultivation of the previous Azure Water Kings. Because those previous kings had already passed away. This energy could not be returned to its original owner. And Ji could not absorb it herself. Because she was not a direct descendant of the royal family. Since that was the case, Ji's gaze landed on Zhuang Weiran. Just give it all to her. With that thought in mind, Ji used her will to transfer all of the energy to Zhuang Weiran. As for the other direct descendants of the royal family, Ji didn't even consider them. After all, he was only slightly closer to Zhuang Weiran. Ji also realized that when the patriarch's soul had just appeared, most of the members of the royal family had run away faster than anyone else. There were only a few members of the royal family present. At this moment, Zhuang Weiran was astonished to feel that her cultivation had suddenly increased. All the way to Tongxian Realm. And it was far from the end. LV1 of Tongxian Realm, LV2 Tongxian Stage, LV3 Tongxian Realm, LV4 Tongxian Realm, LV5 Tongxian Realm. In the blink of an eye, he had broken through to Tongxian Realm LV5. Furthermore, Zhuang Weiran was not the original owner of this energy, so she could not absorb it completely like Zhuang Tianqiu. She could only absorb a small portion of it, and then waste most of it. Even so, his cultivation had soared by so much. If he could absorb all of them, it was possible for him to break through to the spirit profound realm. After all, this was the lifespan and cultivation accumulated by the previous patriarch, and the amount was terrifying. At this moment, Zhuang Weiran was at a loss, completely unaware of what had happened. She had mysteriously become a LV5 Tongxian realm expert, and even gained a few hundred to 1,000 years of lifespan. Everything happened so suddenly. The Tongxian realm was different from the spirit profound realm. Every time he broke through, he would release a powerful aura. And Zhuang Weiran had continuously broken through so many realms. The aura that erupted was like a stormy sea, wave after wave, each wave stronger than the last. The entire palace trembled violently because of this. Is this because of the patriarch's soul again? Zhuang Tianqiu asked Ji in shock. That's right, that thing is useless to me, so I gave it all to her. Ji said simply and directly. Hearing this, Yang Ming and Yang Jie were extremely envious. They immediately regretted going against Ji. If they had thought of ways to please Ji from the start, they might have been able to get some benefits this time. Even when Yun Yang was a little envious. After all, this could allow one to soar to the sky. However, the three of them did not know. This energy could only be absorbed by the direct descendants of the royal family. Chapter 438. With so many things happening in such a short period of time, most of the people present could not take it anymore. Their hearts were already shaken to the point that they could not take it anymore. Now that the scene was in a mess, Zhuang Tianqiu did not plan to continue with the complicated process of the throne change. He directly announced that the sixth princess Zhuang Weiran would take over the position of Duke of Kanglan and become the new Duke of Kanglan. And announced it to the world. Actually, before Ji Yu solved this matter, Zhuang Tianqiu was prepared to let any of his sons inherit the throne, except for Zhuang Weiran. Becoming the Duke of Kanglan was not a good thing, especially since he only had 10 years left to live. Zhuang Tianqiu did not want his daughter to follow in his footsteps. Not only was the ancestor's soul resolved, his daughter's cultivation had also reached the 5th level of Tongxian realm. Among his children, there was no one more suitable than Zhuang Weiran to inherit the throne. In the end, although the throne change was hastily ended, it left a deep impression on everyone present. What happened today, they would probably never forget it in this lifetime. Today, 3 shocking news shook the entire Kanglan Empire. Duke of Kanglan Zhuang Tianqiu broke through to the spirit-profound realm. 6th Princess Zhuang Weiran broke through to the 5th level of Tongxian realm. 6th Princess Zhuang Weiran inherited the throne. No matter which one. Countless people were shocked. That day, in the palace. Now, should I call you Your Majesty the Queen? Ji Yu said with a smile as she looked at the beautiful woman on the throne who was wearing a phoenix robe made of golden silk. No. Zhuang Weiran shook her head and said playfully, "You should call me Weiran." At this moment, she did not have the slightest bit of arrogance in front of Ji Yu. But at this moment, someone barged in from the outside. Zhuang Weiran immediately regained the temperament of a queen and said coldly, "What's the rush?" "Your Majesty, there are many forces gathered outside the palace." A small official hurried in and bowed. "What do they want?" Zhuang Weiran frowned and asked coldly. They said that they are here to propose a marriage alliance with Your Majesty." That small official hesitated for a while before carefully opening his mouth. "Marriage?" At this moment, Zhuang Weiran glanced at Ji Yu and his lips curled into a smile. "Go out now and tell them that I already have someone in my heart. And announce it to the world. That man is Ji Yu." Hearing this, the small official looked at Ji Yu in shock. It took him a while to recover from his shock. Yes. After that, the official immediately ran out. At this moment, Ji Yu was both surprised and speechless. "Is this really okay? What's wrong with that? With your strength, do you still have to be afraid of those guys?" There were no outsiders in the palace. Zhuang Weiran returned to his smiling self. "Or do you think that I'm purely using you as a shield?" Ji Yu was speechless again. For a moment, he did not know what to say. He did feel that Zhuang Weiran was purely using him as a shield. Other than that, what other meaning could there be? Every word I just said is true. Zhuang Weiran's tone suddenly became serious. "You're really something." Ji Yu sweated. It did not matter if this guy was deliberately teasing him or telling the truth. He had already gotten himself into trouble with this guy. If there's nothing else, Xiao Jiyu and I will go back first. At this moment, Jiyu said. There was still some of that ancestor's soul origin energy in his body. He planned to properly absorb it when he returned. After absorbing it, his soul energy should be able to increase by quite a bit. How can there be nothing? Zhuang Weiran used an extremely seductive tone to tease him. Don't you need me to serve you tonight? Then forget it. However, Jiyu was completely unmoved. This guy was trying to tease him again. He would not fall for it. After that, Jiyu held Xiaogu's hand and left the palace. Zhuang Weiran, who was sitting on the throne, looked at Jiyu's back as he left. Her beautiful eyes were filled with emotions. Chapter 439. Jiyu didn't directly return to Azure Water Branch Hall. Instead, she went to Chenyuan Martial House first. Manor Master Murong told her to look for him today. However, it was almost night time. She didn't know if she could make it in time. At this moment, Jiyu looked at the sky. Today was indeed the night of the lunar eclipse. The moon in the sky seemed to be slowly being devoured by something and would disappear soon. Ding. Host has used Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless Lightning Flash has gained 999 times experience. Ding. Host has used Shadowless Lightning Flash. Shadowless lightning flash has gained 999 times experience. Ji Yu used her movement technique and quickly arrived at Chenyuan Martial House with Xiao Ji. She directly went to the Violet Gold Branch Hall to find Mana Master Murong. She could see that Mana Master Murong was looking at the starry sky with his back facing her. "You really came." Murong Zili turned around and said when she sensed someone walking in from outside. "Come up." Murong Zili said, "Next, you will know what is going on with this Mana Master's cultivation." After speaking, she slowly turned around and continued to look at the starry sky. Hearing this, Ji Yu quickly walked up. She walked to Murong Zili's side. Ji Yu still didn't know what was going on and just looked at the starry sky like Murong Zili. In the sky, other than the moon that was about to disappear, there were only a few stars constantly shining. As for Xiao Ji, although he didn't understand what was going on, he also learned to do the same. Why does Mana Master keep looking at the night sky? Ji Yu couldn't help but ask. You will know in a moment. Murong Zili said softly. Ji Yu could only wait patiently in the face of Murong Mana Head's riddles. After a while, the moon was completely devoured. It had almost completely disappeared into the night sky. At this moment, Ji Yu wanted to say something, but she noticed that something was wrong with Mana Master Murong. 2 purple marks appeared on both sides of Murong Zili's face. Her delicate body slightly trembled. What is going on? Ji Yu couldn't help but ask in surprise. This is the curse of my Murong clan. Murong Zili's tone was nonchalant as she said, no member of the Murong family will ever be able to break through to the spirit profound realm. That's why I've been stuck at peak mystic enlightening stage for 5 years. Furthermore, every lunar eclipse, the curse will erupt, just like what you're seeing now. After hearing this, Ji Yu was momentarily at a loss for words. Because at the same time, a system notification sounded in his mind. Ding! The host has discovered the curse of the Murong clan, triggering 999 times comprehension ability. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully comprehending the solution to the curse seal. Ji Yu found a solution through the system. She found out that this was because Murong Zili and the entire Murong family had been cursed. This curse was passed down from generation to generation, and no one was spared. Furthermore, the cultivation manual for the violet glazed pupil bloodline was also missing. The Murong clan only had the first half of the cultivation manual. In other words, everyone in the Murong clan could only cultivate the violet glazed pupil to the second realm, seeing aura as real. Coincidentally, cultivating the violet glazed pupil to the fourth realm, violet glazed divine transformation, was the only way to remove this curse. Not only would this curse accompany her for eternity, it would also erupt every lunar eclipse. The head would be in extreme pain, and it would continue until the lunar eclipse ended. If it was light, she would faint, and if it was heavy, she would die. What made Ji Yu surprised was that Murong Zili's expression didn't change at all. She was actually able to withstand this curse without any expression. Clearly, Murong Zili's willpower was incomparably tenacious, far surpassing normal people, and she might have already gotten used to it. This lunar eclipse would probably last for 3 to 5 hours, so Ji Yu didn't want to just watch. But even if she gave the second half of the violet glazed pupil cultivation manual to Murong Zili now, it would be too late. If she wanted to cultivate the violet glazed pupil to the realm of violet glazed divine transformation, even with the 999 times cultivation system, she would need at least several days. At this time, letting Murong Zili temporarily cultivate the violet glazed pupil was clearly not feasible. Ji Yu thought with all her might, but she barely managed to think of a stupid method that wasn't really a method. That was massaging the head. At this time, she could see that Murong Zili's forehead was covered in cold sweat. She was clearly forcefully holding on. Ji Yu used a clean white cloth to gently wipe off the cold sweat on Murong Zili's forehead. Then, he used both hands to lightly press on both sides of Murong Zili's temples. Seeing Ji Yu like this, Murong Zili's face suddenly revealed a trace of doubt. Clearly, she didn't understand why Ji Yu was doing this. However, Murong Zili didn't resist. Because Ji Yu's actions did make her feel a bit better, You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.